Right now on Full Custom Garage, master metalman Ian Rousell transforms a 1948 Packard into a street cruising lead sled.
I want to build it and give it to my friend Tom.
Wow, I was blown away.
But Ian's goodwill comes with a price.
It's not a Merc, it's a Packard. And this roof line is bunk.
He got in deep with this project.
It's gonna get loud, man.
I think it's a lot deeper than he thought he was going to get in with this project.
Yahoo! But for Ian, one Packard just isn't enough.
I go over to Don's, and he's got his Packard. He's all amped up. It's all Packards all the time. Get them done. It's like a duel to the finish. Yeah! A lead sled is an iconic American custom car. It's a traditional type of custom build. It started with the Mercs from 49 to 51, but you see people using the same formula on all different types of cars. That's the whole thing with a lead sled, is just trying to make your car an individual. I think that's really how it all started. So this is an evolving thing. I mean, it really happened in the 50s, but people are still trying new stuff today. I've been friends with Don for quite a while, working on various projects. I keep walking by this Packard, just looking at it, imagining its potential. I want to chop this thing and make it a lead sled for my friend Tom. I talked to Don about this car. I wasn't sure if he was attached to it or not. He couldn't get rid of it fast enough. He had no use for it.
It's been sitting here for 10 years at least, and it was a parts car, so it's all yours. It's amazing how you've taken the worst of the projects and done the best with them.
It's easy to make a good car look good.
It's the beat-up ones are the challenge, aren't they?
I don't think this tire's gonna make it, man. We're gonna need the forklift.
Out of the blue, he calls me and says, hey, I've got something in mind for you. I was blown away. I've always wanted my own Ian Rousell designed car.
We've tried a few times, but really it's the financial aspect.
Being a father, being a husband, I have not always had the money.
Me being able to help him out with this is really cool. He's helped me out a bunch, so hey man, right back at you. I'm stoked. It's on. We're moving the car out. I've been looking at this thing sitting still for years. Finally, we're moving it. I get it out in the parking lot, and it's like all wrong. I was so amped up to get this thing in the shop. It's like I had blinders on, you know? I was just looking at it for what I saw as potential. Once I got in the shop, I realized there was just so much ugly, I didn't know how to handle it. I never really had the opportunity to stand back and look at it that much. It was always under that carport. Once we got it outside in the open, you could stand back and look at it, and I don't know, it really doesn't have a good line. I loved the way that the taillights in the rear section looked, but that's because it was in a carport and you couldn't stand back and look at it. In my opinion, the big sore spot in the whole car is the rear of the roof. The longer I looked at it, I really started second guessing myself. Like maybe this wasn't the car at all to start with. I've never dealt with a roof that has this ugly hump in the back. So I'm gonna take the whole skin right off of the top of the roof. I'm gonna come in right about here, and the roof attaches probably about that far above the drip rail, and I know I'm gonna shave the drip rails. So I'm gonna take this whole roof cap right off, kind of like this. You can see it's got this little shape that's stamped in it, and that's where it all went wrong, in my opinion. This was good, and then something grew out of the back of the car. I'm gonna cut it right at that line, because it's not gonna have that anymore. You can see it's almost like the engineers in the factory were setting it up for a chop. I'm just gonna start by chopping the heck out of it. No plan. I think it looks better already. The standard procedure in cutting any car's roof off is to brace up the interior. You don't want the thing to shift. You want it to stay just as it is so the door is shut properly. I'm just not doing any of that. I've done enough metal work, I've cut apart enough cars to know what I can get away with. I think I can get away with it. Cutting off the top was the right call. Now I just got to figure out the roof line. My friend Tom is a graphic artist. He's done a lot of work for me in the past with t-shirts and other designs. I took a side shot of the car with the roof on and sent it to Tom and just see what he comes up with. Maybe he's seeing something I'm not.
He sends it to me and it's pretty rough. I see where the car has potential and I try to bring it to life on the computer. When I had gotten to my final rendering of the Packard, I sent it to Ian and I didn't know how he was going to react.
Tom's fast. I get an email back the same day of this rendering, and it's pretty cool. He took the windshield and he raked it forward. I've never seen that done before. Typically, if you chop a top, you may rake the windshield back, but this one was so slanted back, he moved it forward and he put a nice slope in the rear of the roof line. Very cool design. Just standing the windshield up like that, it looked like garbage. It was ill-fitting, but Tom's design looks good. I just have to make my metalwork follow his idea. These two templates came off of a 59 Volkswagen and a 51 Henry J. So you can see that their windshield angles are even more upright than where I'm at now with this Packard window. You can see how the side rails are really projecting upwards. So I'm just trying to make it look a little bit more like a Merc or something that's a little more popular. As I tilted the windshield forward, it was causing the center of it to dip below the cowl, the skin of the body. But the main problem I'm facing is these curves are designed to have the glass at the factory angle. As I'm raising it forward, the glass is falling down. You can see the huge difference. This is about where the factory glass sat, way back. Something about fixed metal shapes. When you put them in a place they're not supposed to be, it's just unforgiving. It's kind of a hurdle to make this windshield look right. I tried a couple different options. I took a couple shims and I shimmed it up, moved the windshield around to get it sit more vertically. For now, I'm just gonna let this sit here, build out all of the structures around the side windows, that way it has strength, and then later I'll bring up this bottom lip. Setting up a chop like this without any direction is kind of dicey, so I'm just trying to feel my way through it, and that's by leading off with this windshield and figuring the rest out. The window opening now, without the rubber, showing 16, so it's probably about a 15-inch window. So I think I'm just gonna take a third out of it. I'm gonna take a 5-inch chop. I think a mellow chop is considered about 3 inches. This is a tall, ugly car. I'm just trying to help it out. I'm going for 5. Crazy thing about this Packard is the A-pillars are almost parallel as they go up. They're always kind of triangle shaped. You know, they taper towards the top of the roof. This one was straight. Now we'll see how much the mismatch is. It's negligible. So it made the chop really easy. I have my sneaking suspicions that the Packard designers probably drew the car like this, and then it got changed. Restructuring this roof skin and the frames surrounding the doors, and that's the line of the car. This is what makes it. I want to take this arch out of the rear window. The same idea as removing that big bulge that's in the back of the roof. This is a pretty risky move. I'm really taking all of the strength out of the whole side of the roof line. But I want this look, so I'm making all these pie cuts in it. It's gonna stretch out the rear portion to make it more streamlined. This is really gonna define what the car looks like, setting up these door frame surrounds. It's also a structural part of the car, So I'm just trying to use what I have, make a couple splices, and just come up with a shape that I like. My special envisioning tool. Ah, yes, the cardboard envisioning tool. It's something that you don't see a lot, but everybody's got one. Just hold it up and look through. The whole idea with this envisioning tool is like blinders on a horse, right? You just see what you need to and carry on. My job is done here. This car is getting a full new paint job. So once I got the look of the roof established, I wanted it all to be one color. So instead of painting it, I'm just gonna take all the paint off. Aside from that front driver's side fender, everything else is pretty much intact. Big problem with this car is it's crashed. The whole front fender is creamed. Don says he's got one in his yard that's a replacement, and it just might make this thing a lot easier to finish. I'm really happy with the line of these two rails coming back from the A-pillar. And the big question mark is how the roof skin fits back on. I'm liking how the sides of the car are coming out, but I'm gotta get this roof skin on. Thinking maybe the original one will work, even though I don't want to use it. I think I'm just gonna put it on there and just check it out. Once I got it back on in place, it seems like it'll fit, but it's still got issues. You know, it was designed with this big bulge in the rear, and I'm trying to get away from that. Don came over to look at the car because I think he's kind of sitting there being a naysayer.
I don't see the envision that he does, you know? His creative mind is thinking, but my mind is not that creative. He got in deep with this project. I think it's a lot deeper than he thought he was gonna get in with this project.
I'm really seeing the potential in this thing, but he's just not digging it. I got a couple tricks up my sleeve. I think it's gonna convince him. I'm gonna change the look once more. Ready?
You ready? Go for it.
This is the main part of what I don't like about the car is this weird bubble back. Help me like bring this up onto the windshield and let's see how it's working there. That is freaking gangster, man.
Right there. He's changed the body lines on that top so much. It looks like a Merc. The way the top has cut it now and laid that window back, it's just looking way cool.
Thing really is just committing to a course of action. By splitting the roof and just refiguring it a little bit, all of a sudden the line appeared. You know, and that's really cool. Don was liking it, and I think we're on a good run.
So what do you think on this here? Just trim this back piece off here? Is this how this is gonna work? And then
I think so. See the way it was all up in the air, even taller, but when you just lap it over, it like really just relaxes. I'm telling you, the designers intended this car to be chopped.
they really did, didn't they?
They were thinking ahead, and I gotta thank them for that. It's making my work a lot easier.
That fits nice, because then basically what, just a panel from here to here?
Well, see, I'll lift this up, and that makes the job even easier. See? You don't have another back window, do you?
The Boneyard does have some treasures in it, that's for sure.
This fender's seen better days. If you got a replacement, I'll change it out.
I'm pretty sure I have a replacement fender.
Cool. Maybe I'll swing by your place and pick up the fender tomorrow or something.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool, man.
All right, back to work.
Yes, sir. The roof skin fits, but it's all about refining it. It wasn't designed to be in this orientation, so there's a bulge that needs to be fixed. The whole thing about it is just metal, you know, make a couple cuts, reposition it, and problem solved. It's pretty rad. I just cut it, put it in place, and, you know, a couple little pinches and clamps, and the thing fits great. take the whole rear portion of the roof and just tack weld it back in place. It's at a totally different angle, but it seems like it's flowing. It lines up pretty darn good. The main concern for me now is what's gonna happen in here. This last part of assembling the roof really is the line of the car. It's what I've been trying to improve on. And that's the issue. You got a flat spot. You got to work around that. And that's gonna be a challenge. So it's important that I make this sheet metal flow. It's gotta fit the car right. It's gonna get loud, man. I like to work fast and loose. Bottom line. I had this idea, I've done it on a couple other things. I just use a pneumatic hammer. I just rattle it real quick, just in a circular pattern, crisscross. What it does is creates a dome. I'm right where I want to be. I got the roof line established. It's pretty much fit up, so you get a good visual representation just in time for Tom. Typical car story. I go over to Don's to get the fender, a replacement for mine, and he's got his Packard. He's all amped up.
Really, it's been sitting there for 10 years or better that I really wanted to do something with it.
The whole time I've known Don, this car was just a big shape under a tarp in his shop. So I knew there was something special under there. And finally pulling it out, it was quite the reveal.
It is a 1950 two-door Packard fastback. And from what I understand, it's slightly a rare car.
So, now we've got some of the dust off. What exactly were you hoping to accomplish?
I would like to get it to go stop and go again.
Most of Don's projects just involve getting them mechanically sound and running them. He's all about the mechanics.
The car, all in all, is pretty much a stock car. I like to keep it that way. I lean towards that area anyway.
First off, it has no hood or fenders. It's somewhere else. So I hope Don's got all the parts.
Well, Ian, this is where the last of the treasures are hiding for this project. They've been here for eons, and you can see
They're all bleached out.
they are bleached out.
No, you wouldn't think they were for the same car. Don says the fenders are up there. They don't look like the right ones to me. They're a totally different color. I figure I'm just gonna climb up there and grab them. And then all heck breaks loose.
Oh, look at that. There's more trim under there, too.
A bird nest and an egg.
Oh, there's wasp all over the place.
I disturbed somebody's home. They've been in residence a long time.
As he's passing the fender down, he disturbs the hornet's nest that's underneath the second fender. You didn't get stung, did you?
Nope.
Okay, because I'm highly allergic to those.
Yeah, I'll get out.
And Ian was pretty quick. Ian's a big guy, but he moved pretty darn quick up to that land sea container.
My cat-like reflexes allowed me to avoid utter failure. I totally got shocked, you know? You're just moving along, doing your thing, and then, like, you know, total adrenaline rush. Here they come. Wow! Somehow I ended up on top of the shipping container with a broom in my hand. It was like, just reaction.
Don't back up too far and fall off the other edge.
There's one there on the Mustang. I got him. Right now, it's self-defense. This is an angry swarm of insects coming after me, so I'm doing it pro golf style.
Whatever lives on the property, I let live on the property. I'm not into eradicating them. Oh, they're going to be really pissed now.
Don hops up on the rack and takes care of business, and that's fine by me.
I knocked the hornet's nest out of that fender for Ian. He was still a little reluctant to get back up there to get those.
I'll just hang out up here until the air clears.
You know, we needed the parts. We couldn't have Ian stung, so that was the end of the wasp nest.
Let's bring her on in. There's another one.
From cars to bee wrangling.
We got both fenders down in the shop, so it's like on to the next. Saving the paint's my priority. The fenders are a totally different color than we want. So my first assessment is I'm just gonna take some buffing compound and see what happens.
Ian got real resourceful. He brought in that 3M rubbing compound and squirted some on the fenders and just took a rag and started polishing it.
And I put it on there and it turned blue, like the rest of the car. I was surprised. It says it's Super Duty rubbing compound. You can see I'm rubbing. It's definitely doing some super duty. Pretty easy task, you know, I got Don all inspired, collected the parts, put them together, and I just get to rub out the paint job. That's an easy day on the job.
I've spent the time when I got the car to get all the parts required for it, too.
Packard just got a really unique kind of look. The grille is this strange little center chrome piece with these massive body panels surrounding it. So it's actually a pretty easy fit up because these fenders take up a huge amount of the car. There's like 4 main parts in the whole nose. Seeing the car all mocked up like this, it's just a cool, inspirational thing. I'm ready to put the engine in. Don had this engine from who knows where. Small block Chevy, most popular engine in the world, bottom line. I don't know the history about it, but he says it's a runner.
We got the motor stuck in it, and it fit.
With some cars, you know, say if you're putting a V8 in, say, a Ford Falcon or something, or a Vega, it's a real nightmare. This car's got tons of room, no real stress.
In a short amount of time, I'm really impressed how much work got done on this car.
This is really rudimentary custom work. Any kind of custom car, you go through this stuff. I've done it a million times. So Don's gonna finish up the rest of this engine installation. Tom's coming by, so I'm gonna get back on that Packard and get back to work. Uh-oh, there goes the neighborhood. What's up, man?
Wow.
Got a car.
This is the Packard, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't like that 4 days ago, remember?
So being excited about seeing this Packard underway, I gave Ian a call and I said, hey, I gotta come down. I gotta take a look at this thing. Being that I barely sent the artwork to Ian just a matter of days ago, I'm blown away at how much he's accomplished.
I think Tom's really stoked. The roofline matches his drawing, I mean, almost to the T. So, I mean, what do you think?
I dig it. It almost makes you wonder why it wasn't built this way to begin with.
You know, that's one thing I've been saying all along.
It's very cool to see another artist take my artwork and make it even better.
And just putting it on the ground and chopping the top, he loves it.
Now that I see it here in person, I like it as a four-door.
Do you like my lowering kit so far?
What'd you do?
Well, I lowered it, right? Isn't that how you do it?
Yeah, you just took the wheels off?
That's about it.
That's one way to get it down.
Yeah. So it won't be this low, obviously. I'll have to figure out what to do with the springs. I'm thinking about just torching the springs and putting some blocks in the back.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If this thing runs, then you're kind of ready to go. We'll make the brakes work and hopefully it starts up. Don has been pretty good about that. He's pretty mechanically minded and he says it runs. He had it running a few years ago, so.
Okay, good. Be the coolest family on the boulevard, I tell you what.
He really wanted a big old chop-top lead sled. He's got it. I stopped on these roof panels. My next step is to throw them on the English wheel and get these guys tacked in. I got a way of doing things by myself, but hey, there's another body in the room. Get to work.
To be able to work with Ian today is a real special treat.
This is a really complex thing, creating a big roof for a chop-top car. The whole thing is establishing this nice roof line. I want to minimize the amount of body filler in the end. So it's really just like push it, hold it into position, and tack weld it so it stays. You know, it's the stuff you read about in magazines. So I stuck them in the car and had them hold up the sheet metal. I would have to come up with a bunch of weird contraptions to hold it in place. Here he is doing it. He was pretty excited.
Ian, in my opinion, is today's Ed Roth. Ed Roth was a wild customizer who was very innovative. Ian is just carrying that torch.
What this thing does is it sucks the metal together so it'll create a little more of a dome.
Ian likes to think outside the box, doesn't care about what anybody else thinks, and builds what he wants.
So this is gonna crown it out a little bit more, as well as take away all those hammer marks. I'm really not that familiar with an English wheel. I've only used it a couple times. Eastwood had this really simple, portable one, and it worked out pretty darn good. Pretty good. Yeah. Getting the sheet metal tacked in place, that's it. That's the car. The line of it's established. It's just a matter of finish work. If you like it, here we go. I'll put it all together and on to the next.
It's a killer chop.
We got the chop top nailed. It looks great. There's still a lot more. One of the defining factors on getting this project was that Don says it's mechanically sound, you know, it's a runner. I gotta get some electricity and some fuel to this and be sure that it's gonna go down the road. This car is ancient. It looks like an Egyptian tomb under the hood, man. Well, it gets spark. Something happened. That's a good sign. So I'm pretty surprised that this thing fired up like it did. It purrs. It's an old engine, but it runs great. We gotta pick up the dust somehow. So this roof is bondoed out for 3 full days. I got just a little over 2 gallons of Bondo on it. So I had to make the whole thing flow into one nice dome. And I think I did that. It looks pretty good. So the last part of the equation is these door frames. This is the trickiest part of the whole deal. And to sum it up is if people can't figure out where you cut it, then you succeed. Just building stuff that you haven't done before, it's just the adventure of it, you know? It's like I want to come out successful in everything I'm doing, but also the spice of it is getting that agitation of not knowing. I was so bummed out when I started this project. I can't put in words how disappointed I was at the selection I had made. But I think this thing's gonna be all right. All the body fillers set. Eastwood gave me this urethane high build primer, and I'm just gonna coat the whole car with it. 3 heavy coats, because it's a filler primer, and then I can come back and block sand it. This is the first time you really get to see what the car looks like. It's all blotchy, you know, Bondo spots, metal spots, different tones. So having it all in one color is gonna be really cool. Once I get this thing all one color, a good primer coat on it, you're really gonna see what the car looks like. And that's really what I've been looking forward to. This chop top is what makes the car. It's looking good. It's like a one-piece, one-color car now, but I gotta see it at ride height. One of the things from the start was how tall this car was, how high it was off the street. I'm looking to get a 4-inch drop out of it, easy. Everything is rusted, stuck, typical scene. Hate this part of the job. In case you're wondering how my nose got so rearranged, doing exactly this. No joke. The coil spring shot out of the car, hit me in the face. That's a big piece of metal that hit you in the face, huh? This is the old school lowering technique. Before there was all these fancy kits and airbags and yada, 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 you would cut the springs or you would heat them with a torch. Those were the options. So I'm doing it just like they would have done it back in the day. So I started off by cutting just about 2 coils off, a little bit more. It's hard to say exactly what the drop's gonna be until it's installed back in the car, because the spring rate changes, you really can't calculate it. So I'm just gonna cut both springs to match and set them in the car until it looks the way I think it should. That's what I'm talking about. It makes all the difference. It's a pretty serious family car, that's for sure. Makes me want to have a couple kids. Even though I'm on the home stretch with Tom's Packard, Don's got his Packard. He's all fired up, trying to get that finished too. So for me, right now, it's all Packards all the time. Get them done. It's like a duel to the finish.
We're getting ready to put the coolant in it and fire it up, so I'm getting pretty excited. I mean, it's getting closer and closer to be a running vehicle. Well, should we give her a try?
It's your baby, man. Looks like it's all there.
Okay, let's see what happens. It's not getting any spark.
Oh wait, it just fell out.
Ian had noticed that the hot lead going to the coil wasn't connected all the way.
Try it again, man. I'm not willing to.
You're not willing to throw in the
accept
towel
that.
yet, huh?
I just said 3 prayers.
3 prayers. Okay, let's go. Thank God that car wasn't up to operating temperature. There was a plug for the heater hose that was on the intake manifold. The clamp was not tight. Yeah. We know one thing, the water pump's working real good.
Wow.
Wow.
I'd say it runs.
It was a simple fix. Put the clamp on it, put more coolant in it, fire it up, change the t-shirt, wash the coolant off. Well, are we ready to try it again?
Yeah, I'm gonna stand over here.
You chicken. Sounds pretty good.
Well, let's put it on the ground, man. I think she's ready.
Ian was excited about pulling it out of the shop, cleaning up the mess, getting all the dirt off of it.
I like old cars. I see potential in everything. Make me want to do something really cool.
The car's been sitting for so long, to see it with a motor in it, the front end on, it running, getting the hubcaps on it. I mean, this thing is, it's there. I mean, it's ready to go. Looking at that other one really, really inspired me to get this one going.
And that's really the basis for the whole thing that I do, you know? So to see Don get charged up on the Packard that I'm doing, he's like, hey man, I got a Packard too. This thing says like stock car from the 50s. It's got that look. Maybe racing at Daytona Beach in the sand, something like that. It's a pretty good look. I'm excited to get back, finish the Packard I'm working on. There's a couple things left to attend to, and then that sucker's finished too. The last parts of every car build are really tedious, so I'm looking for some inspiration. I'm always trying to find something that's gonna take my mind off the tediousness of the finishing details. So making these taillight lenses was a perfect little diversion. This is my super improvised plastic heating device. I went on this whole bubble top adventure with my friend Victor, and I learned a lot about heating and forming plastic. Victor and I wanted to make a bubble top car, so we went about it in a way that would create this enormous plastic shape. So this is a miniature version of that. I just took this piece of a barbecue grill, put some foil on it, and then I have a propane heater. I'm gonna heat up the plastic and form it into a couple taillight lenses. I did a lot of experimenting with Victor on the bubble top, and I found out that 300 degrees is when the plexiglass starts to become formable. They make spaceships and stuff out of this, and here I am with a piece of the old refrigerator and a propane grill. My whole idea is getting this plastic really preheated well. That way it has time to go into the clamp before cooling back off. I took this piece of aluminum and put it in the roller to match the arc on this. It's just like the bubble top. It's got an air source with a base plate and some holes to let the air come through. And then there's a clamping ring that's gonna hold the plastic down to the base plate. Warm it up with the clamps and then inflate the lens through that retaining ring. Portacool sent over one of their huge shop fans to keep the temperature in this place under control. I was also able to use it to cool down the plastic lens. If it stays molten for too long, it could change shape. It's the same idea as the bubble tops, just way smaller. This thing's pretty much wrapped. I'm excited to see Tom's reaction when he sees it. There's a lot of work getting the car to a finished state. I really busted it out. I can't wait for Tom to see it. So I'm really excited for him to check it out. It's like his idea come to life. We're ready, man.
Oh,
Check it out.
oh man. You're kidding, right?
It's the real deal.
Wow. Ian, man, that is one gorgeous machine. Look at that. When I first walked in and saw the Packard, I was blown away. It's amazing looking. It's actually a lot cooler than I could imagine.
The thing about when Tom walked in, the last time he saw the car, it was a shambles. I mean, there was just loose ends everywhere.
This is a perfect color for it. Holy smokes.
Yeah, you gotta see it in the sun. It pops pretty cool. I got this black cherry paint that complements it beautifully.
First thing I noticed when I walked in is the amount of time and work that went into it. There's a lot of customizing there.
All Tom's drawings were side views, so for him to look at it and see the angle of the A, B, and C pillars, it really meant a lot to him. And I made these two taillights. It didn't have any taillights. Just kind of fresh.
Those?
Yeah, I blew them out of plastic, kind of like mini bubble tops.
No, man, you're kidding, those are.
Because remember, it didn't have any lenses.
Ian tells me that he custom made these things himself, and I'm just shocked again. It's like, what can't this guy do?
The fact that this thing is a good stock runner really helps out in the end because he can enjoy it. He doesn't need to do all this other modifications. It's a complete factory stock Packard with a pretty nice chop top.
When I first sat inside the Packard, man, I couldn't help but feel, man, this is cool. I'm ready to cruise, man. And I am one cool dude because I'm cruising this thing. You want to go cruise? Hey, me and Sean Pound are cruising, man.
This was a very emotional experience. We took that car out of the carport and I was angry. I was just thinking we were going in a bad direction. I pulled through, you know? I was really thinking about quitting a lot of times. Tom's drawings helped me, and then finally seeing the metal change shape is kind of what led me to doing the finish work right.
There's one thing I've noticed about Ian. When it comes to customizing a car, is he's driven. He has something in mind, he sets a goal, and he goes for it. When we're thinking about where's the coffee, he's thinking about what do I have to do next to this car? What do I want to do next to this car? And he goes for it.
The whole deal with this is I was trying to help Tom out. He's done a ton of work for me. The least I could do is return the favor. So to really push my limits as far as the fabrication and finish work, it really is just something to say thanks to Tom.
It's really undescribable. I can't talk about how grateful I am because there's no words to express it. I mean, other than getting in there and cruising down the boulevard with a big grin on my face, there's no real way to express how just excited I am. It's a cool car and I cannot wait to show it off.
This project is a great example of what I've been doing with my career. Just trying to be creative and push something further is what I'm all about. Just trying to discover new ideas. Keep the people happy, give them what they want, on to the next.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Rousell transforms a 1923 C Cab into a vintage-style tow truck.
It's Don's pile of parts.
It is absolutely a basket case. There's stuff from the 40s, there's stuff from the 30s, there's stuff from the 20s.
But Ian's client isn't your average car collector.
Oh, hell yeah, I'm a hoarder. Well, if I wasn't such a pack rat, I wouldn't have all this stuff.
You got your hoarder mentality, and then you got your artist mentality. And when they cross, you know, you come up with cool things like this.
As the build progresses, Ian attempts to take the tow truck to the next level.
There's nothing like the original stuff, and I like the challenge of putting them together in a convincing way. See you later.
Ian has his own ideas on how this is going to look. I'm a little concerned about it. I like things stock. I don't like them modified too much.
It's little steps like this that can convert a man like that to the creative process. Typical Don scene. He's got pallets of stuff, so I didn't know if we were looking left or right. He points to this one on the left, and it's a bunch of vintage tin work. Looks like it's an old Ford or something. The thing behind the pile of stuff is a C-Cab. It's a really early Ford truck. It's really old, and I think it's cool. So this thing is like 92, 95 years old,
Yes.
something like that? Wow. This thing doesn't even have rust, man.
The cab is basically really straight, no rust, has a lot of potential. As old as it is, it's in pretty darn good shape. I've got the frame for it, got some of the fenders.
Oh, wow.
Yes, this is what started this whole idea.
This whole thing started with Don finding this manual hand crank. It's a tow truck winch. It's dated like 1930 or something.
Well, that winch has been sitting in storage for 33, 34 years now. I always thought it'd be really cool to have a vintage tow truck, basically to move stuff around here on the compound. I don't have a boom for it, so maybe that's where your magic can come in, is putting this stuff together.
Don's missing everything mechanical. He's got a mechanical hand crank winch. He just needs everything else.
Oh, heck, that truck's missing a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't have a motor, it doesn't have a transmission, it doesn't have a drive shaft, it doesn't have front and rear suspension. I mean, it doesn't have a steering column. It is absolutely a basket case of parts with a whole bunch of parts missing.
If we could find a rolling chassis, then it's like just mount this body on there and, you know, do it kind of hot rod style. Don and I have been working together for such a long time. He's thinking, hey, anything's possible. And it really is, because I know that Don's got the parts. Somewhere in this property, he has everything we need to make this happen. Don's got this 1-ton dually just sitting there. The way I see it is this is a huge upgrade from 1919. This is like 1969, you know, it's like way more developed. This truck is gonna drive like Henry Ford never imagined.
But I think it's a little bit, the cab's too small for this.
I think this could work, man. I don't see why not. I mean, if we have to cut that cab or do something to this frame, It doesn't matter back here, it's a utility bed. It's just that that nose of the cab is so narrow in the front, we might have to do something.
And the frame looks straight. It doesn't look like it's been tweaked or...
I think it's a good start, man. Get this cab out of the way and let's get it inside and lay it out. Even though we got a bunch of cool pieces to work with, it's still just a pile of parts, a cab, and a chassis. As I see it, the task here is going to be getting all these pieces together and just making one unified truck. This is a big project, but I'm totally ready. Every project has some sort of impetus to things that get you interested in building. This hand crank did it for me. I think if we build the whole truck to reflect this era, I think we come up with something really cool.
Look at that, just like a glove, Ian. Yeah, I'm a little bit relieved now that we got that cab on that chassis. Ian was talking about we may have to have cut that thing, and I was really reluctant on cutting that. I'm the type of person, I like things simple, I like things stock, I don't like them modified too much.
Once we mocked this thing up, it became clear that this thing was going to be anything but a restoration. We've got parts from like 4 different decades, and there's a lot of space to fill. There's so many different parts here, it could go in a million different directions. It's Don's pile of parts. We're gonna pull out each fender and clip it to the frame, see how it looks, and just kind of come up with a representation of what the truck's gonna be. The main thing I need to build on the rear of the truck is the boom. That's the thing that holds the cable and the winch for towing. This whole thing is gonna be based on like a hook and pulley system. Don's showing me books with a bunch of different materials used.
You know, they have some really bizarre type apparatuses for towing.
Wow, look at that.
Isn't it really cool?
Let's just make a mock-up and we'll figure out how we're gonna build this thing. Just trying to get some kind of a look, a feel of how tall the thing's gonna be, you know, what proportions. The easiest way was just to take a couple 2x4s. Really, the look of it is, you know, it should be proportional to the cab height. We just cut them to size, made a few triangular frames, and just kind of moved them around, saw what it looked like in relation to the height of the roof.
Well, when we first started mocking it up, it just didn't look right.
It just looks like it's got a little thing stuck on the back.
It does. Yeah, standing at this angle, it does. So Ian and I looked at each other and go, this isn't gonna get it. We need to come up with something else.
Like if we did use these 4 members and we went back to the winch.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
I like how the line comes down into the winch. It looks like it's one piece.
Yes.
Maybe we opened this up and created, you know, like that big crane shape. The whole deal is how this truck looks as a whole. And then finally, after moving the pieces around, you just know when you hit the sweet spot. I think we should go with that.
I think this is it.
Now that we got this thing mocked up, I'm ready to move on, really get started on this truck. Once Don and I got the basic structure of the boom figured out, it's time to bring it to life. I'm just building this perimeter frame around the base that's gonna be like a subframe that anchors that winch and also holds the uprights. I got a whole bunch of this C-channel from Industrial Metal Supply. It's 4" by 1.5. It's a 3/16 wall. I'm gonna build each side flat on the table, and I'll stand them up and then tilt them in and join them at the top. This boom needs to be strong, but it's never gonna pick up really heavy stuff. Because it's a hand crank winch with a pulley, it's got a weight limit. The end result will be that this will be a great rig for Don to use around the yard, around the compound. So the fit up here is pretty loose because I'm seeing like a big 1/4" plate coming out and making a nice gradual arc so that the hook is a little bit further out from the back of the truck. Once I got the boom structure on the truck, it's all about tying in the hand crank. I know I'm gonna have to build something off the front of this. I really like the idea of keeping this rustic old angle iron frame. It would be easy to just unbolt the winch and put it on something fresh, but the whole look of the truck is like old-fashioned. I'll just build a little discreet brace underneath to bolt it to. So it'll be just presenting, it'll be out in the open. And then I'll put a cross member under here that'll support the front of that. Even though we're basing this structure on what Don and I mocked up, I still am trying to bring some kind of a design element into it. The winch looks good there. The last thing for me to do is just mock up some kind of an end cap. All the tow trucks we're looking at seem to have this detail at the end where the cable came over and then had a pulley that kind of drooped down. So I'll make an oversized one of these cardboard deals. The big issue I'm having is this negative space with the plate on top. The fix may be to truss it out with some 3/16 flat bar on the outside of this whole thing. Like, come off of that plate and down, and then back, and then back. Once the structure of the boom was in place, I'm just thinking about designs that can crisscross this pattern. It's a pretty weird triangular shape, so I'm just laying out tape in random directions just to get an idea of how the space will be filled. I'm not really sold on this truss idea. I put in 3 cross pieces and felt like it was gonna work. I kept adding to it and it just got out of control. I wanted Don to come in and check it out, just see what he thought.
Wow. That's looking good, Ian.
I'm getting carried away, man.
Got the back hacked off. Yeah.
The problem I'm having is with this tape.
Yeah, it's a little busy, isn't it?
Act as if that isn't there for now.
Okay. Ian had put a bunch of tape on the structure that we were doing.
The whole reason I was getting carried away with this tape was I had a couple pieces of flat bar, and I loved the fact that if we used that big 1/4-inch plate you have and put it on the outside and create some kind of a truss structure over the top of this, so it's really dimensional.
I think on that strapping, it was just gonna be way too busy.
I think the way that I build things is just understanding that I don't know what's best. I'm just leaving it open to happen.
But I really like this shape, how it's taking.
I thought by turning the C channels backwards like that, showing them, it just made it look a little more old-fashioned.
I think you're right. And that's what we want to go with, the older look.
Well, again, with the trussing, maybe we leave it out. I thought it would be really cool to, make it very fancy. I was really trying to make something out of this boom. I was going for the Eiffel Tower, and Don just wanted something way simpler.
I think you nailed it like this. This will work absolutely great like this. I thought he might get a little too carried away on it. It's hard to keep up with Ian. He moves so fast, but I like it the way it is.
There's a ton of different design elements needed to bring this thing together. My process is to stay open to new ideas, and that's just how I work. I'm not sure Don's on the same page. I'm just gonna keep working through this, and Don's gonna go grab more parts. You can see here how this is spreading out so wide, so the wheel will fit inside here. Perfect. The cable comes through into the wheel, bolt passes right through here, and the other wheel will be out here. But I'll clamp this in after I get this stuff welded up. The triangle shape of this boom was so irregular in the way that the main support beams came together, I felt that a top cap would just simplify the whole deal. Coming up with the design for this top cap, I thought it was just gonna have one pulley. But I realized that the look of it required 2. It seemed like the cable was going to be rubbing on the framework, so by putting 2 pulleys, it allowed it to come up over the top and then out of the back just a little more smoothly. Seeing the boom and the winch on the truck is awesome. It's really the start of what this vintage truck should look like. Don had this gas tank he was thinking about using. The tank Don showed me is just kind of generic. It looks like something that should be under the bed. This truck's got one lacking area between the bed and the cab, and I think building a custom gas tank is gonna set it off.
Ian has his own ideas on how this is going to look, and I have my own ideas too, so I'm a little concerned about it.
Move it. Go on. Sorry, Charlie. I've built a lot of different gas tanks over the years, but for this truck, I got a really cool idea for like an old school oval gas tank. Let's see what happens. From the start of my interest in metalworking, I was really trying to build stuff from scratch, you know, by myself. The reason I started using found objects is because there were curved shapes of metal that were way more accessible. So I could get into the actual building of larger components instead of focusing on these small details on curving metal. Back in the day, they were making some cool stuff out of very basic materials, so I built the thing the same way. It's kind of caveman technology, but it works. It's a stamped steel cap. There's a million ways to make a gas tank. This is one. You could just take the metal, tack weld it, roll it around. Instead of doing it that way, I got this slip roller from Woodward. I had been wishing for one of these for years. My plan is to make a full tube out of this sheet metal, smaller than this large radius, and probably right around this radius, hopefully. That way I can just kind of open it up, slide it into place around these two end caps, MIG weld it in place, and then TIG weld it so that it's sealed liquid tight. The next step is the inlet and the outlet. I put this little fitting on the bottom here, and I got this old gas tank. I'm gonna cut the filler neck off and put it on here. I wanted to make this tank and the brackets to hold it look like something you'd see on a vintage work truck. What I'm looking to accomplish here is match this radius with the mellow curve, and then I'm gonna pull it tight over a piece of pipe. That way I'll have more of an egg shape instead of a perfect circle. It just depends what you have to work with, but it was just easier to start from scratch because we had it custom built in proportion to this vehicle. That's what we got, dog.
Ian nailed it with that hand-built fuel tank. That is just so darn cool.
When he saw what I was building and how it was going to add to the look of the truck, he was on board 100%.
It's interesting the way that ties in between the cab and the bed of the truck to have that space taken up by a fuel tank. It looks absolutely perfect and vintage for that vehicle, too.
It's little steps like this that can convert a man like that to the creative process. It's a small victory in this grand war. We're getting in deep. We got mismatched sheet metal from all kinds of things.
I brought Ian another hodgepodge of stuff, sheet metal and old fenders that I want to utilize on this project. I'm not sure how he's going to make it work, but I'm sure he's going to make it work. Well, those fenders are looking slick, though. I have some old running boards over at the shop. I'll bring those over the next time I come on. Maybe we come over, maybe we can utilize them.
Yeah, because I think that's the whole mode with this truck is just all recycled stuff. It's like all the cool parts laying around, just pile them on and make a tow truck. He had 2 quarter panels from an old truck that he found. He had 2 Model A fenders left over from the rear of his hot rod. I think I could widen these fenders and make them fit on a dually rear end on this chassis. There's nothing like the original stuff, and I like the challenge of putting them together in a convincing way. So we got 3 pieces that don't belong together. My mission is to get it right. I'm gonna cut the whole lip off of this inside of the Model A fender. And I'm gonna cut the lip off of this truck bed. Join them together with the sheet metal flange and then position it on the truck. I think that's the easiest way. All right, so that is on. It's already starting to look more utilitarian. It's the whole thing with this truck, is it's gotta look like a work truck. For me, the most straightforward way through this is to just put in the giant panel first. I have a couple detail pieces where this fender detail comes into the bedside, front and rear, the rear being the more challenging one. But at least now there's a big structure holding it all together so I can mock up the bed on the chassis. What I just accomplished was just getting a preliminary setup on these dimensions. Don's parts pile is ever flowing. He brought in these old running boards, and who knows where they came from. There's a number of problems. Obviously, we're way short in our reach from the front to the rear. This fender is a similar year to this body. So what they would have is like this little apron, this little splash pan, and the running board would be at this height, which looks pretty cool, especially if you're jumping in and out of the vehicle. But that fender is much lower, which brings the running board way lower. This is where it's really at with this project, taking these mismatched parts and making the side profile of the truck one cohesive line. I gotta nail it. We're at this Truckin' for Kids truck show. We're at Irwindale Speedway, Irwindale, California. Trying to get some inspiration on how these guys are putting these rigs together. Don's truck is a bunch of mismatched parts, and it's really a work vehicle in essence. So coming out here to check out these working trucks that they put a lot of flair into, I just want to check out what's going on. I drive this. And the whole thing is there's so many different variations on the cab to trailer or whatever they're doing for working. You have all your standard cabs, but it's really the fenders and the running boards that make everything link up. Some of the trucks look pieced together, other ones just flow, and that's what I'm trying to do, make them flow. See how they rolled from the cab, they rolled right down into the running board with that diamond plate. And that's kind of what I'm gonna have to do with Don's, is create this curved rocker panel that comes all the way down from the door. This one's much more exaggerated, but that's the same challenge that I'm facing. This whole thing is really about working trucks. So there's a lot of new vehicles out here, but I knew they had a class with older rigs, and that's really what I came to check out, the old stuff. This is kind of the same era as Don's rear fenders, and you can see how they just swoop back so gracefully. I mean, these are the fenders I would put on the truck if we had them. I guess this truck most represents what I'm trying to accomplish. You know, we got these big, wide running boards that are totally functional, and you have a more curvy fender, and this one is obviously a factory part, and they join up perfectly. Coolest thing to see was all the different arrangements of the running boards and fenders. Each truck has its own unique combination depending on the ride height and the fenders used. This truck kind of mimics what Don's got going on. These fenders are just massive and they really tuck the tires in. It's a great look. Makes the whole truck look super low. The whole thing with coming out to this truck show was just to get inspired to finish. It's always a long haul, detailing and getting all the pieces fit up and finished. And really this is like, you know, these are finished show trucks and it just gives you a lot of inspiration. In order to get these fenders to fit, I had to get an old engine just as a placeholder and install the steering column. I used the steering column out of the '69 cab from the donor chassis. We could replace this '70s styled steering wheel with something more period correct later. So these are the fenders. I made a couple marks to set it up. I measured these fenders up front to rear. The clearances are cool. They're even, they're in place. I'm gonna tack them on. The next challenge is getting these running boards in place. They need a pretty heavy support structure that has to tie into the frame. I like these running boards. It's a really great running board, I'm not disputing that. My concern is the transition from the radius to the front fender detail. So I think I'm gonna end up building off of the running board instead of cutting it back. Yo!
Brought you some more material.
Don shows up with more random scraps. Here he is wheeling in some old diamond plate. Well, you're right on time, man.
Yeah, well, perfect.
Check out what I got.
Hey, those are looking slick. Yeah, it's so cool seeing this old stuff. It's been in stock up against that house for a long time.
Various states of pileage.
Well, if I wasn't such a pack rat, I wouldn't have all this stuff. Now, the wife thinks I'm out of my mind, but...
Well, she's not the only one.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, I'm a hoarder. Definitely, I collect stuff, I hoard stuff. I don't get rid of anything unless the wife has some say to it, but having Ian to be able to utilize most of this stuff has just been absolutely great. And it might work out for a parade, too.
Don's really happy with the progress on this truck. Still a lot more to do, but I think we're on the same page.
It sure worked out
So
good,
it's the
didn't it?
69 Chevy steering column. I just shortened it up. We started talking about the rear of the truck. What are you thinking about this rear bumper? Do you have any material or like any guesstimate of what you want to see here? Don said he's got a great bumper, and I think this diamond plate might be just what I need. Don had a ton of this good used diamond plate. We're trying to decide what the finishing elements of all this bodywork was going to be. And since he's got this stuff and it color matches most of the rest of the truck, I think we're going to use it. We're going to put a diamond plate step here, and the other side, there's going to be a diamond plate detail on the front bumper, and the whole rear of the truck is going to be diamond plate. So I just built a little bit of extension off of this bedside just to come out past the chassis. There's two tabs under here that'll bolt the bed on. As usual, different ideas are spinning around in my head as to how to tie in this diamond plate with the rest of the body. Trying to put some elements on the side to coincide with the curves of the fender. I want the radius to match the rear of the fender, so I'm using the fender as a guide. My whole process is always use cardboard to mock it up, because it really just helps you visualize it. You could have sketched it out if you had the time. Instead, I just took a piece of an old box and put it on there, and I think it's cool. This is my whole process, and you know what? It's fun. This is the part I enjoy, is figuring stuff out. It's like feeling out the look of the vehicle. It works for me. Lovely. Next, we will cut a simple square cap. There's gonna be a big trailer hitch set up in here that's incorporated with the bumper. I'm not gonna really know how that's gonna happen until I get the trailer hitch from Don. So I'm just gonna tack this rear panel on and take it back off when I need to work on it.
The pipe that I brought in for Ian for this bumper on the back of this tow truck actually came off one of my other trucks.
Don was telling me about this cool truck bumper he had, and he brings it over. It's just a steel pipe with a trailer hitch welded to it, and I think I can make it work. You got your hoarder mentality, and then you got your artist mentality, and when they cross, you know, you come up with cool things like this. That's what I'm talking about, being open to the nuance. You know, an idea becomes a reality through a few different steps, and this is just one example of that. Don wants 2 trailer hitches. He's got one trailer that's heavy duty, it needs to be a little taller, so I just cut a hole in the pipe and added one more. This back bumper was a real pleasure to see finished. I was very satisfied with it. There's a lot of pieces on this truck we still have to connect. We're moving into the eye of the storm. After coming back from the truck show, I started talking with Don about finishing this project as far as paint and bodywork. At first, we were gonna just leave this truck bare metal, but Don saw this Packard I painted. It was black cherry, and he thinks he wants this truck two-tone, black cherry and flat black. I replaced the diamond plate on the side of the bed with a flat sheet. That way the whole bed can be painted one color. I really like the steps on the back side of the bed. That was part of what I was thinking with this diamond plate structure. So bent over a couple pieces of diamond plate, formed them around, and just let them flow into the rear Model A fenders. This is a problem area, the way the fenders slope down. I wanted to connect it to the rear of the bed. Gonna mimic that mirror image to the other side, the driver's side. Weld her up, put her on the road. We got a car to pick up. That'll hold her. Front running board's gonna be a bit of a challenge, but this diamond plate is here. It's used material, it matches the bed. Just gonna try to put a roll in it that will match the radius on that running board. Don really likes the old truck running board he had up front. So to make the diamond plate match, I'm gonna try to get away from this hard welded edge. I'm trying to make it look like this running board is about 20 inches longer, but it changes texture. There's gonna be a rubber element, I'm pretty sure like a tread pad up front where you get into the truck. But back here where it's all utility, I just want it to be super strong and have a radius that matches this front running board. The big missing piece in this whole equation is this area here. Once again, Don's got the parts. We found some side pans from a Model A. See the way it worked on the Model A. Came down below the running board, and then this angle came up into the fender. We run into the same issue with the running board in that it's short coming into the bed. To me, it's gonna be better to make this part. We're trying to tie in the fender, the running board, and the cab. It's just gonna look better if it's scratch built. First thing is to just pull this around. So it's about 90 degrees. See, the sheet metal brake makes a really hard angle. This makes a nice mellow angle. So that was like, you saw 2 seconds of pulling, but it stretched the metal into this really rigid compound curve. It's like a puffed shape. I'm all about trying to just find stuff and modify it so I can use it, but sometimes there's just no other alternative. And that's really where your craftsmanship comes from, is when you can just build from scratch. But the curve indexes just below the body and comes down to the running board. So now I gotta trim this top side to fit roughly, and then I'll measure out my flange to cover those holes, turn it back under like a hem edge, tack welder in. The 20 gauge sheet being super flimsy, you can see by putting these bends in it, it's very strong now, and that's cool. This side panel's gonna work. The real hard part is getting the running board to fit up with the front fender. So that's gonna be a pretty big deal to make that work, fabrication-wise. This truck coming together, we gotta get started on the engine work. Don says he's got a small block Chevy, but of course it's buried out in the yard somewhere, and we gotta go get it. Out here in Don's back 40, he's got stuff piled so deep, you have to call in the big crane to get it out. Don's treasure's down there. So instead of moving all these cars and everything, we're just gonna move the racks. Finally, we're out of the shop, you know? Get away from the truck for a minute. This is a really intense build because it's all business. This engine was looking pretty rough. Don's claiming that this is the buried treasure, and I'll tell you, it was buried. Take her up.
This engine that I've got is a good engine. It's a small block Chevy. I've probably had it about maybe 13, 14 years.
I tell you, Don, this is looking good, man. This is like new old stock. This is a fresh engine. If ever I've seen fresh stuff, this is it. This is great. See you later. So to get out and swing around on the crane for a while, yeah, it helps clear the head.
I'm gonna clean this engine up a little bit, pull off all the unnecessary parts, and ship it back over to Ian, because I know he's got a lot of work to do on it.
We got a brand new transmission from Monster, so it's really like 90% there. This piece is really subtle. It's a small part, but if I don't get it right, it's gonna be totally noticeable. I'm using the detail on the end of the fender, which is a rod shape, and I'm just gonna make a gradual S-curve down into the bottom of the running board and sheet it. You know, it doesn't belong that way, but at least it's gonna match. You know, you'd never see that anywhere else. You really don't grow unless you're, you know, challenged. You know, there's gotta be some pain there, like working out, you know? So even though I'm not able to go out and just do my funky dance, it's like a workout. This thing is just pushing my skills to make something happen. Yeah, to try to create this weird, it's almost like a horn, like a bull horn, right? A section of that, like a steer horn. And to create that really tight curve in one piece of metal would require a huge amount of stretching. So I'm gonna shrink the two insides of each curve and they'll lap over. This is the side profile of the wheel arch going down into the fender. And that's why I chose this method to put it together, because at least it draws a flowing line. The whole idea here is the next piece is going to come off of this existing fender and just wrap right over it. So there'll be a seam about a ½ inch in. That's why I just curled that edge pretty tight. I've come a long way with this truck, but to me it's all about the finishing details. If you can pull it off convincing, then it's a real winner. This rod, you can see, comes straight through. It drops down and into the bottom of the running board. And this little flange here just is what it is. It disappears and goes right under. I'm really happy with this. It's one of the main issues I needed to make work, and I think it came out fine.
The way he molded it in and blended it in, I mean, it just looks like it came from the factory.
All right, to start off the front end, I thought the radiator and grill shell would be the best place, start front row and center. We're on to the more enjoyable part of it, which is accessorizing. Don had a couple sections of a Model A rear bumper, so I shot him an idea of using those on the front of this chassis. Our front end design has two side pieces of existing Model A bumpers, so we're ending up with a space in the middle to fill. So Don had these stakes from the garden. Don had these garden stakes. I don't know what he was thinking, but, and you know, I'm always open to nuance, but I don't know if this tent stake is really the right choice. Sometimes when stuff doesn't look right, it just leads you to a better idea. I think we're gonna have to come up with some kind of a center element that just stands on its own, and then it has these two little side flaps. The rear bumper's a big tube, so this obviously is gonna be a mismatch. It's a work truck, so a tube bumper's appropriate in the back. I'm thinking like some kind of a utility front bumper, like you'd see on a work truck, a fire truck or something. I'm gonna cut off the front section of the frame, and I have an idea of a way to make this work. I had this super old school toolbox. It's definitely period correct. So maybe I'm just gonna make a little tray that'll just hold the toolbox there. That's something a tow truck would have, you know? This toolbox came from the guy that taught me almost everything I initially learned with sheet metal work. I was working in roofing in New York City, making gutters, all kinds of decorative copper elements, and this was the dude's toolbox. It's legit. I like little details like this. It gives the project cool elements that have their own story. I got the headlights mounted on their stands, and it's cool too because it really does have a Model A feel. You know, looking at it from here, if you know the front fenders aren't Model A. But the grille, the placement of the headlights, the style of the headlights, and the curved fenders and running board. It's looks a little bit more updated than your 1923 C cab. For the windshield frame, Don had this really neat oval tube. I don't know what it's from, but I think it'll serve our purpose perfectly. On this cab, I have pictures I took from the internet, and it looks like the windshield is about this tall, but it just sits up inside. It's the weirdest thing, because you can see the roof is way wider than the windshield. They were never intended to match. It was more like an air deflect, or it was a wind shield. Just shielded you from the wind, and that's where the term came from. Well, I'm gonna TIG weld all this because it's gonna make a nice little weld bead. Hopefully I won't have to sand or do any detail work to this. It'll just be a nice stainless steel TIG weld. Looks like an old truck. So Don is gonna get the paint and all the final details on this project together. It's almost wrapped. I can't wait to see it finished.
Ian nailed this thing. It's unbelievable. The stuff that I gave him to work with, he knocked it out of the park. I mean, look at that truck. It is just absolutely beautiful.
This one was really getting to me. The mismatch of parts was bothering me to no end.
There's stuff from the 40s, there's stuff from the 30s, there's stuff from the 20s, and then the drivetrain and frame is from the 60s.
The whole challenge here was using the parts that Don wanted. The hand crank was really the impetus behind the whole thing. The truck was styled around that era hand crank, so that's my favorite part of the rig, and really without it, it wouldn't have been this truck at all. It went from a pile of parts on a pallet to an operating tow truck.
Ian had built Patty this electric dune buggy that she can drive around the compound here. She drove it until the batteries were dead, and then we went and picked her up. We put a hook on it and towed it back for her.
The whole thing here was getting Don his fantasy truck. I'm charged up, and Don is stoked. Don added all the final details to really finish out this project. The wooden bed and that giant old school hook really give it that vintage feel.
Working with Ian on this project really opened my mind to a lot of things, and this project came out killer. I mean, it came out way better than I expected it.
Don's totally into this truck. He's got a huge stash of projects, and the possibilities are endless. When you're dealing with someone's prized possession, their passion, the last thing they want to see you do is go at it with a frickin' knife. It's like they're thinking, oh, good times. No, that's later on. Right now it's war. Put the word out, I'm looking for some new projects. Right away, my buddy Tom hits me up. He says, hey, my friend Bob and I, we got a project. Come on out and see what we're doing. That's a Buick, right? With the portholes on the side?
Yeah, it's a 55 Buick. Yeah, I've always got a bunch of projects lying around. Probably too many. Got it from my dad, I guess. You know, he was always into hot rods and motorcycles and things like that. That's where I got the bug from.
So this thing is cool, man. We could totally work with this.
It's a lot of fun watching Ian walk around like a kid in a candy store, looking at all these different cars that could be potential projects.
Right behind it, across the driveway, is this early 70s Pontiac. This is cool.
Yeah, it's the Uniroyal Thrill Driver stunt car, Joey Chitwood. They used to jump them through hoops of fire.
Right,
and
at the fairgrounds,
yeah,
they do all
exactly.
kinds of tricks.
They had stunt drivers, Uni, Roy, and Al. This is Uni. The other two cars, I understand, are gone. So this one's kind of got some history to it.
I've never built one of these cars. I'm intrigued. You know, if Bob wants to jump through the flaming hoop of fury at 150 miles an hour, he's called the right guy. We can make this happen. It's cool. What is this? I'm already digging this car, looking through it, and I'm like, but wait, there's more. What's up? Is this your shop inspector?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know where these car-loving animals come from, but they do exist. We have evidence.
The dude could never fit in the speaker hole in the rear deck. But you can never replace shop inspector. He's A #1. But hey, we're on location here. We're gonna need some support. Interesting project, man. I can't wait to get started on this thing.
This isn't it. He seems pretty excited about everything that's around here, but he hasn't seen my hot rod yet.
So I don't recognize this truck shell. Is a Dodge?
Nope, International.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited to see what Ian thinks of the work we've done and the work that needs to be done.
I've done a bunch of international stuff. This is old though, like what, 30?
Early to mid-30s.
Walking up on this project, Tom's giving me the spiel, hot rod, etc. But I see it was set out in this pasture for a reason. It's definitely a basket case. Oh man, what's up with the back wall?
There should be a window here.
You ain't kidding.
Right, but it was apparent. It looked like it had been in a wreck. There was a pretty big dent, and the sheet metal was wavy, so it had to go. It's an old farm truck, you know.
I see. The wild card with any old project is the damage or the rust, or the damage and the rust in most cases. And this truck's got a good dose of both. It's not even there to debate. It's pretty rough. Well, I mean, it's definitely unique, the fact that it's an international for sure, but is there like a thing with this? Family heirloom? Or?
Well, there is. I've wanted an international. And when I was looking for a hot rod project, I went back and forth, Chevy, Ford. I kept coming up to international. Well, I struck a deal with my neighbor to get the international. But once we got it home and Bob and I took a look at it, it was really obvious how rough it was and how long it had been sitting.
We started on the cab, and it's got a great style to it, but we kind of gave up on it.
I know it. It's not the prettiest looking thing to look at, but I see the potential in it. I'm really hoping that Ian does too. I know it's pretty rough, but what do you think?
In this, I could see the potential already, right away. But is there more? I mean, cars, they come with like 3 or 4 tires. You got a cab and a bed and a cat. Look at this thing.
So Ian's like, where's the rest of it? And that's when I get really excited, because this is what Bob and I have been working on for some time. And I'm really excited to see what Ian thinks about it.
Oh, so you guys aren't kidding around.
Nope.
This is cool.
Thank you.
Right on. You know, I deal with a lot of pipe dreamers, you know, guys with a piece of metal and a dream, but
Right.
I didn't realize you guys are already nailing it. You've been on this for a while.
Oh yeah.
This is what I was hoping to see. Now we're talking cars. So I don't recognize the frame. What did this come from? You built it or?
This is custom built.
Nice.
Tommy and I have been building this chassis for quite a while, off and on. We were kind of at a standstill on it. We reached the point to do the body work, and I don't do body work.
Hot Rod Bob, he's been doing this for quite a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's one of those guys that you can learn a lot from.
This is the easy part for me, but that body work, are you sure that thing's hammered?
Well, I mean, I can definitely handle the sheet metal work. If this thing runs and drives, we're in business. You guys got a deal.
All right, cool, great. He was asking if it runs and drives, and he says if it does, he's in. Heck yeah, it runs and drives.
And like instantly, they're grabbing tires, wrenching on stuff, strapping seat on there.
It's perfect. 2x4s, ratchet strap. It's gonna be awesome. This definitely looks like you're gonna need a stunt helmet. There it is, it's all you, baby.
It's all you, Bob. They don't call him Hot Rod Bob for nothing.
That's the thing, there's something to be said for seniority, you know. Bob knows his stuff, he's gonna be the test pilot. Period correct, man.
Okay.
The reassuring thing was, at the turn of the key, it fired right up. There it is.
Just seeing it drive around, I'm getting excited.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a total hot rod for sure.
Absolutely.
Somehow, super rough projects are like cosmically drawn to me. It's nice to have one that is pretty far along mechanically.
So, are you into it?
Oh, 100%. Sold.
All right, man.
Totally cool. Let's do it.
I can see that this truck really means a lot to Tom, and that's cool. That's why I'm here. You know, I really want to help him out, whatever it takes. Tom's international truck seems like a really good project.
He's telling me that, you know, him and Bob have been building the whole thing here at the shop, and I am more than welcome to set up camp here and do what I need to do. You know, this is definitely a good starting point. The body, I do want to see it on the chassis, though. That way, you know, when I get into chopping the top, I want to see how close to your head it's going to be.
I don't know about chopping it, man. Look,
What?
you'll see.
That's exactly why we want to put this thing on. I got to see what's happening.
Don't scratch my authentic patina.
Tom's done a couple really wild projects with me in the past, and I'm excited to get the cab on the chassis, see what he's working with, what ideas he has.
Okay, now here's the problem with chopping it.
I see no problem at all.
Well,
There's almost no metal to chop. Isn't it
keep in
awesome?
mind, I'm like 6 foot to 6'2", depending on what liquor store I walk out of. Now watch this.
That nice, you're 7 feet.
The problem with chopping this is, as you can see, you bring this roof down any, and I can't see.
Right, you're already sitting on the floor. You can't get any lower.
Right.
Well, I mean, we got to do something, man. Maybe we could just raise the roof, you know, bring it up 4 inches instead. We have plenty of room. I was surprised, but it made sense, you know. Tom wants to stay pretty mild on it. He's a tall guy. He doesn't really want to chop it. I'm just going to wait it out.
I kind of get what you're saying with the chop top. Maybe we could do something cool on the back, you know, put in a cool back window or something different. I mean, all of this is pretty ratty. So I think from here, wrap right around. We'll just blank it in, and then maybe we can do something cool with the back window.
I got a couple options for the back window.
Options, baby. It's the spice of life. Let's go looking. Hot Rod Bob is a collector. He's got some stuff. I've gotten a few treasures from him in the past. My kind of collection.
Here's this.
Oh yeah, that's a ship's porthole.
I think you've used something like this before.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's like a camper window.
Yeah,
for
is it?
sure.
Yeah.
That's like almost as wide as your cab.
I really like this one, then, man.
Yeah, you try it out.
Yeah.
See how it looks.
I've got one more option.
All right, let's check it out.
Search continues. It's all about keeping an open mind.
Oh,
It's the original.
why didn't you tell me that you had that?
I was a little surprised to see this window frame. You know, it's the original.
That's stock right there. That's factory.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bent, but it's usable.
Yeah.
It's really all up to Tom. You know, we can do something really wild, full custom, chop top, the whole deal. In the end, it's Tom's call. It's his truck.
First things first is to repair this back wall. You know, I love the fact that the chassis is driving, so let's not take out the gas tank or anything. Let's just pop the cab off, set on the dolly, surgical procedure, like a surgeon's table, like a lab.
That cab is pretty rough. You know, we got a lot of work ahead of us, but I need to take a closer look.
Now, class, there are a number of things wrong with the back of this truck. So right here, you can see it's out right here. That's a lot, right? And on this side is the exact opposite. So you got the roller coaster effect. If I was to follow this line with the sheet metal, this is what it'd be doing. It's like way the heck out of shape.
Not really sure if Tom knows how far gone this truck is.
So the good news is I got a plan, but the not so great news is that instead of just putting this wall in and fixing the window, we kind of got to rehab the back third of the truck. There was numerous impacts. Instead of just putting in a window, let's just fix the whole back of the truck. It's gonna be way better for it. We'll clean all this crud out of here and we'll make it nice. It's never too late to shop it. That's the whole idea here, you know what I'm saying? So once I start working my influence, my hypnotizing ways. How many fingers am I holding up, right? You're going left, you're going right.
No chop.
Going down a hall, you're turning left, you're turning right.
Bottom line is we need to create a whole new rear panel by any means necessary. When you're dealing with someone's prized possession, their passion, the last thing they want to see you do is go at it with a frickin' knife. It's like they're thinking, oh, good times. No, that's later on. Right now it's war.
It's like visiting the dentist. Don't be nervous.
Oh, man. Yeah, but even the dentist is painful.
Open your mouth.
It's very hard to watch. Was I expecting him to cut out the whole back of my cab? No.
All right, so now we're gonna do a little tar paper template lesson.
Tar paper?
My neighbor was putting a roof on his shed, so last night I did a little shopping. He was done, you know, he didn't need that.
Okay.
Tar paper isn't your typical template material, but it works, and you gotta use what's available.
Man, if I mess it up, I'll just blame Ian.
I can tell Tom has concerns. You just gotta work through it.
Ian's a go type of guy, man. He just jumps right in and he starts getting to work. And it's a little bit hard to keep up with him. All right, so why do we put a square tube down here at the bottom and what's with the rod? But I'm trying. So this isn't gonna look like I've got some beaded line going on.
I just gotta say this. You're the most inquisitive client I've ever worked with. You're hitting all the bullet point questions, and I appreciate that.
Good. Well, I'm asking questions because, you know, I'm concerned, I'm curious.
The whole idea with this is you start with a little oversized and trim it back.
So this is the story. I mean, the challenging part is this one corner, but the center just falls into place. So you see what you're getting, right?
Oh yeah. You'd think that going this method would be all choppy and archaic looking, but this is already looking smooth.
Because I got style, my man.
You do.
What do you think you're dealing with here?
Got the rear panel in, and we're just checking it out. Now I have to ask.
So now the only question I have is, how much are we gonna chop it?
Say chop one more time. I dare you. I double dare you. Ian's relentless, man. He really wants me to chop this truck. I'm thinking no chop, man. I'm too tall. You chop this thing, I'm not gonna be able to drive it.
Still no?
Still no, man.
How about the porthole window? Grab that thing.
Porthole window, all right.
Maybe we can get crazy with the window.
Right dead center, man. Ah, look at that. It's perfect.
It looks like a minion.
It does. Yeah, definitely on the same vibe here. No porthole for sure. That's too weird. But the one contender was the oval.
Too weird for Ian.
Well, I'm saying it's too weird for you. I'd have half a dozen of those things in the back of my car. Whoosh.
I gotta take a look at this from back here.
Not sure if either of these are gonna work, but it's his truck.
It looks like a welder.
It does. It looks like a welding helmet.
This is a welding helmet.
Right.
I like it, but I'm thinking that's more of a, if it was necessary, we would use that one.
The only thing I'm thinking about is that the stock one's kind of beat up and dented. We're gonna have to do a little process to that to make it work. If you want to fit that one up, we'll see how far out of shape it is. That's totally a contender. I mean, that's the right window for the truck. The only issue is, just like the back wall, this thing is all smashed. Both of these panels, we're gonna have to straighten. I mean, and if you reverse it, the theoretical flat side on here, you can see it's way out. That's like an inch off.
I can see how bad it is. It's really out of shape. You know, I mean, I like it. I love it because it is the original window.
I can tell Tom's really set on this window frame. Let's see how bad this thing really is.
Let's use some envisioning tape. I put this stuff on everything.
Think that center?
Once the envisioning tools come out, it gets kind of serious.
What do you think, higher, lower?
Right there, stop. So Ian takes that back window frame and puts it up against the back of the cab with some tape. Yep, it's not looking right.
I mean, the window looks good, but it is bent. It's totally out of shape.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
There's always a porthole, man. I know that thing is perfectly round.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Look at this arch here, and look at this. Tell me it doesn't look like it's out of shape completely.
A little over 9 inches, about 9 3/8 right there. And then we come here. We're almost to 10.
That's what I'm seeing. It's whacked out.
I'm really hoping that Ian can pull some tricks out of his hat to make this thing better.
The good news is we can fix that thing. I got a plan.
You got a plan?
Yeah. About to get medieval on this.
Yeah.
When a piece of metal gets bent, especially sheet metal, the molecules, they get rearranged. It wants to stay in that shape. Heating it up with the torch anneals it. It makes it soft again.
Is this one of the tricks that he has in his hat? I don't know, but I mean, it looks like something that came out of a barbecue. It doesn't look like a good idea.
As well as annealing it also tends to burn it up. That does not concern me. The steel isn't burning. All the crud that's on it is.
It looks pretty rough.
Are you sure this is gonna work? What do you mean? Dude, you roasted my window.
This is a pretty unique shape we're dealing with here. So the next step is to make a little dolly tool that we can hammer the thing back into shape with.
Red on that side.
Yes, red.
Hey-ya! Dink. Looks pretty darn close, eh?
The idea here is when you're away from your shop, sometimes you gotta improvise.
You see that dent anywhere?
Yeah, man, it's
Dent
gone.
disappeared.
Man, it was a totally unorthodox way of going about it, but it worked. Ian managed to straighten out this window frame. Wow, man, you did it. Look at that.
Done. Tom is super stoked. It's looking good. Now it's just all about the welding. It's the scariest part of sheet metal fabrication is your potential to warp it. The way this is set up, I'm just making every effort to minimize the warpage. Hiya!
Wow.
It's not as good as the porthole, but it's pretty good.
No, man, this is better than the porthole. It's such a relief to see it fit back in there.
Man, that looks like a truck. It's a good looking window, man. Good call.
That's awesome.
That old window frame ended up fitting in there pretty good. Almost like it was designed that way. Call this repair complete.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna skim this with filler just to take all these little weld dots out of here, but that's pretty darn straight.
That's amazing, man.
Tom's pretty psyched. I want to put that cab back on the chassis and see what else he's thinking about.
That looks a little bit better, man, for sure.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Seeing it back on the chassis, it's really cool. I'm kind of tripping out.
With the back wall there now, you really get that feeling of how raked it is.
I really like the stance. Everything that Tom and Bob have done so far is really good.
The one thing though, the back wall's totally outshining the rest of the rig now.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like, hey, I'm a back wall. I'm brand new. I'm an old truck.
Yeah? What should we do about that?
Well, that's the thing. There's two options. You could bring the whole truck up to that polished steel finish, or you could try to just, mellow out the back wall. I don't know what the end game is, what the goal is.
One thing I don't want to do is throw a whole lot of money at it, you know what I mean? I think just matching that panel to the rest of the truck is probably the way to go.
That's up to you. I'm gonna do a little body filler on there, but that's your baby. You're the artist in the house.
I'm the paint guy?
There you go.
All right, I'll do
It's
it.
your truck.
Yeah, let's see what I come up with. This is a challenge. This is a big, important part of the build. I mean, this is the characteristic of the truck. I don't want to mess it up. I don't know if we can pull it off, but in 2 weeks, my car club's got this meet coming up, and I think it'd really be cool to drive my truck.
You know how I roll, man. I'm budget conscious all the time.
Yeah.
You can make that happen in 2 weeks.
These projects can just linger, I'm not saying Bob and Tom were slacking on this, but it's been in progress for a long time. Having a deadline gets everybody motivated.
I got a couple ideas for this bed.
There's a huge hole in it. Number one, that's all that's bugging me is that,
You got your gear. Typically you throw your stuff in the truck.
Yeah, to be honest, I really didn't think about what was gonna happen back here. I don't know, I'd like to see what you have in mind.
I think we should make like literally like a trunk section here and then cap it. Put a tonneau cover right at this level. That way you can secure it. Nobody's getting at your battery, nobody's getting at your gas tank, nobody's getting at your goods.
I see what you're saying. It definitely will make it look more of a finished product if there's something going on here.
Let's do something steel as a storage bin, and then anything goes on top as long as it fits your aesthetic of what the truck's gonna be. I'll work on that sheet metal stuff, and then, you know, whatever you can come up with on this bed cover.
Wow.
Made some progress, sir.
Geez, I guess. Wow, dang, look at that.
So that helps it out quite a bit.
That's
huh?
gorgeous. The rest looks like heck, but that's nice.
Bob came in and he was jazzed. You know, I explained our plan.
I got this idea for the shape here, you know, to accommodate these mechanical parts. So if you guys can figure out something for this cover, I'll work on getting this trunk area set up.
I was telling Ian, you got plenty of stuff out here. I'm pretty sure we can find something to make a cover.
Oh yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff laying around. We'll find something.
I let those guys go on the hunt. It's Tom's truck. They've been collaborating since the start. I'm interested to see what they come up with. The dog is here because the cat quit. I don't know. It just never showed up for work after the first day.
Dude! Yeah, man, Ian brought the shop inspector in today. That's really cool. It's been a while since I've seen the dude.
Now that we got some progress, I figured I'd bring the quality control, you know, just a little check up on things.
I did a little sheet metal work back at my shop.
So I was thinking it's gonna set right on that cross member and weld right to the frame here. And we'll just put some sides on, so you got this big hollowed out area.
Nice.
The idea with this is it's just a storage spot in the bed. You know, I wanted to get it all set up so that I could finish it off today.
This is super basic. I just put this on the sheet metal brake, did a series of folds, and you see I put some little X's in there just to give it some rigidity. And I didn't put walls on it in case we had to change the shape a little, you know.
Oh man, this is gonna work. Oh wow, this trunk that Ian built in the back of the bed, it's really cool. It's gonna come in handy. Yeah, Bob and I, we went and picked a couple things out of the yard for possible cover.
Yeah, let's check that out. This can go in at any time.
I was curious to see what they got for bed cover options.
Yeah, check this out.
There's a car hood, right?
Yeah, 68 Mercury Montclair.
It's a big car hood.
It's got a pretty cool body line on it. That might...
That's kind of neat. I did a roof of a hot rod with something similar to this. It was a Mustang hood. I mean, if you like it, you know, to extend this would be a little challenge. You know, you'd have some body work and whatnot if you wanted this detail to come through. Inspector seems concerned. There's a lot of noise from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, no? Is it a no?
There's that stink eye. What do you think? Doesn't seem very enthused, man.
No.
He's a lot happier walking in. All of a sudden, it took a nosedive.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no on this, but I got one more option I want you to check out.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure if it would work, but I figured I'd throw it out there.
The old picnic table. Oh, totally cool. It's wood, it's old school.
It just looks like something that would be in the back of the bed of an old truck.
What do you think about that? Better than a car hood, huh? Heavyweight, checking it out. Getting a lick of approval. See, right away, you know. That's a good call.
He's really into it, and typically when he likes something, he's not afraid to show it.
It was his idea. Give him the action.
I prefer the wood in the bed, and dude liked it too. I'd say we're soulmates, but I'm pretty sure that's him and Ian, and so we're just good pals.
That's a keeper.
I think we're going with this.
A friend of mine does a lot of woodworking and faux finishing, and sometimes for a panel like this that's so fresh and new, he'll take a propane torch and just blast it, like the old Wild West town, you know, with all the gnarly finish. Would take this store-bought looking piece and make it fit to your vintage truck.
Yeah, I'm all for making it look more old school. Like you said, it's a new piece of wood, so again, I'm excited to see what you do with this.
It's gonna be awesome. Look at that. I know that look. As soon as the eyebrows start doing that thing, he's bored. He wants me to get to work. It's time.
They say the dog and his master, you know, tend to really become one, you know, and it's true. I don't know how we communicate, because it's usually just like, we get the point across. It's crazy.
So the idea is I'll just weld this to the truck. We screw that to the plywood, and I'll weld it right in.
The whole idea with this is to hinge up from the back of the cab.
So the natural shape of this plywood, if it was screwed down, it would flatten out, but it ain't. So I think we just put some ledges under here, so that way when it hits that, it'll be kind of a pressure shut. Oh man, it looks like $100, $1 million.
Yeah, I'm glad we went this route. I like this a lot.
The real question is, what's it look like after we burn it, baby?
I'm excited to see what this is gonna look like.
Yeah, me too. I've never done this before. I just saw it happen, so.
Wait, you've never done it before? Ian says, oh, I've never done this before. And then he hands me the torch.
The whole process with this build is inclusion, you know? A client can just pay and come back when the project's completed. I like to terrorize the client, engage the client. That way they really appreciate the rewards.
Yeah, look at that.
I think the darker it gets, the better it looks. Keep cooking it.
I should have known this was gonna happen. I'm on Ian's wild ride.
That looks pretty distressed.
This thing's fun. I actually liked it. I'm glad Ian had me do it.
Man, that looks awesome. It was pretty freaking bland, and this made it look as old as your truck itself.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
I was surprised, you know, I figured it would work. I've seen the results, but never been through the process.
Oh, wow.
That really helped the whole rear view of the truck, in my opinion. That thing is nailed.
I'm blown away, man. This was a good choice.
Couple more little bits, and you're in gear, brother.
Yeah.
I was just finishing up the bodywork on the rear of the cab, and the guys are putting in the taillights.
Yeah, I got these cool 1942 Ford taillights. They're the right measurement height-wise to fit that one spot at the bottom of the bed.
There's a bunch of loose ends on this truck, and I know Tom has some ideas about the paint. We haven't really talked about it. I'm just gonna let things develop.
Oh, man.
It's getting there. My goal is to get this thing as straight as possible. That way when you go forward with the paint, we never have to go back.
Ian's giving me the task of matching the paint. I've never done this before, and I'm kind of nervous. I just want it to be done right. When you give me the go-ahead, I'll slap some paint on it and then scuff it up.
For sure. Well, I'll make it perfect, and then you can screw it up. It's gonna be awesome. And I got another idea for your bed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the whole thing with that bed cover, tail lights. I got one other idea I want to show you, too. I was thinking how cool this bed looked. You know, just always bring it up a little bit more, maybe. You know, it's wood. I thought it would just be cool to have a metal accent to kind of bring it together. Like those little slats in there are neat, but what if you had something that was even neater?
Okay, neater.
That was even cooler. But if you put that in there, all of a sudden, it transforms.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the mixture of metal and wood.
Tom had to hit the road, so Bob and I are still trucking. You know, we're gonna keep this thing going.
Since it runs well, might as well have it look nice.
Hey, back window, clean engine, the whole
Yeah.
9 yards.
Yeah.
Bob was cleaning up the engine, and I wanted to finish off this storage area in the bed. To fit this up just on the fly like I'm doing is a lot of testing, you know. Put it in place, mark it, react to that.
This is my improvised sheet metal brake.
I consider one of my greatest assets to work like a caveman.
Set up your line, set up a big old hunk of steel, and clamp it.
It's a pleasure working with Ian, and watching Ian work, I've kind of thought to myself, I need to learn this stuff. Oh, yeah. That's nice. It's sweet.
Yeah, I'd make a heck of a cooler.
Yeah.
I have no concerns about the structural integrity of this thing. And I know Tom has some ideas about the paint. We haven't really talked about it. I'm just gonna let things develop. Tom is a friend who works at Encore Auto Detailing. They do powder coating as well as a lot of other stuff, so he dropped off a few parts with him. I got the cab ready for paint, and I'm curious to see what Tom has in mind.
Hey,
Yo-ho.
man,
It's happening, baby.
you got a lot done.
Yeah, it's totally bodywork. Primer is dry, ready to rock, whatever you want to do.
Well, speaking of paint,
Yeah.
I've got an idea. I took this panel to the paint shop,
Right,
and I had them match this green right here
right.
and loaded it up in some rattle cans. Right, and see how it's all nice and patina. It got a little bit of white and some ruddy red.
Right.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna layer the paint, then coat it in the green, and then I'm gonna hit it with some sandpaper, some Scotch-Brite, and try to get this.
Like faux finish.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a cool idea.
Ultimately, my goal is to make it look like nothing has ever happened to this pickup cab.
Yeah, if you could match this to what you got going on, then nobody will ever consider that this back wall was even messed with, which is kind of neat. I'm interested to see how this develops.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna give it a shot.
Have you ever done this before?
I've never done this before, and we'll see what happens.
I like Tom's concept, and I really like the fact that Tom is embracing the idea of just winging it.
Working on the last piece that I thought I would need to build, and that's this windshield detail. How are you planning on holding the glass in for the front windshield?
I didn't have much plans for that at all. I mean, I figured Lexan, screw it in, slap some sealer all the way around it.
Like race car style or
Yeah,
something?
and we're done.
I was looking at the way that this windshield area is set up, and it has these two lugs in it, just like the Model A, where it would have those little dials that flip out at the bottom. I was thinking about making one like the Model A. Let me show you Bob's setup, and I could pretty much duplicate it.
Okay.
Maybe even make it better.
Model A Ford has a similar style windshield frame, so I wanted to show Tom Bob's car.
You know, the cool feature of this is that they pivot out, so, you know, it gets hot inside the car all the time. So it's got a little lock nut, and then these deals push out the window so you can drive around with ventilation.
Ian's window idea kind of reminds me of my dad's hot rod pickup from when I was a kid. It had a safari window. I like the idea.
You know, this is a little more stylized, I guess. If we had one of these frames to modify, I would do that for sure, but I could take some aluminum C-channel and mimic this design.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's definitely better than what I had in mind. It's gonna remind me of my dad every time I pop open that window.
Awesome. I'm getting started on the windshield frame, and Tom's jumped right into the paint. Tom's just got the style, you know? He's like the Fred Astaire of the paint world, you know? He's got a flow, he's got a rhythm, he's dancing it. Pretty interesting process.
So I'm gonna start by just making a frame out of this square steel.
This truck's been around a while. There's been a lot of different hands in the process, so someone's changed the center of the windshield upper portion for some reason, and it's really misaligned.
You know, you want the top of the windshield to be straight because there's gonna be a hinge up here. Look how far off that is.
Yeah, somebody hit that with a grinder.
That's way out, yeah.
Just like most things I fabricate, I start with a template and then I make a final piece. So this steel part I'm making is a template for the aluminum frame that's gonna be there in the end.
So now you can really see, you know, that little gap difference. I'm gonna take this whole thing out, but that's perfect. I'll make one more of these and then just put it together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the point where I become concerned. That's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Making the aluminum frame in the end is pretty specialized. I have the big TIG welder at my shop, so this isn't a job to be done on location. The template I can bring back, come back with the new one.
That's the shape of the windshield frame, and it's even as opposed to the truck. Whoa! It's like St. Patrick's Day up in here. Look at that green. That is hideous.
It's gonna be a process. And yeah, I hope it works.
I'll try not to judge the work until it's done. Really cool to see Tom taking the reins on this paint. You know, he's got a plan and he's going for it.
Pretty crazy, man. I didn't know where you're going with this, but now I can see all these different values coming through as you scuff it up.
Watching Ian, I've learned sometimes you just gotta get in there and go. And that's pretty much what I'm doing with this paint.
I know it's 5 times more work to make it look like nothing happened, but I get
Sometimes,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna see how bad I can make it look, you know, but you know, in a cool way.
That's what I'm seeing all over this truck, right? It's not just patina, it's like abuse.
Right,
There's a lot of
exactly.
damage you
Yeah.
gotta replicate.
Tom's getting all Bob Ross on it, you know. He's got some happy little details over here. He's got some conceptual stuff over there. This looks like it might work.
I've got patina.
That looks horrible, man. You're doing a great job.
You know, I had faith the whole time.
Hey, I'm gonna cut apart your truck once more, so.
Again?
It's gonna make the windshield a little better. This front angle iron, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna make a whole new mount for the windshield.
brought the template back to my shop and made the same windshield frame shape out of aluminum C-channel. Put an aluminum piano hinge on it and showed it to Tom. So while you're doing all that scratching and scuffing, I got your window frame.
Awesome.
Got a little hinge on there, and then that fits right up in here.
Oh, nice.
The advantage of making an aluminum windshield frame is that it looks cool. You know, when somebody looks at it and you say, oh yeah, it's hand built. You know, it just gets extra points with the judges. So we'll put a lot more screws in, but the proof is in the test. Does it close?
It shuts.
Not too bad for some old scrap aluminum.
That looks great, man.
So you can see how flimsy it is. What I really want to do is, in addition to putting glass in here, I'll put the knobs on there and then the little sliders so you could set it, you know, I mean, if you wanted, you could set it way out here.
Now, I love it when Ian does something outside the box or really extra cool. He's taking my build up just an extra level.
We're definitely hustling this, man. It's gonna happen for sure. We just got a couple more details, assembly, modifications, and this baby's ready to rock. Tom's club event is only a couple days away. We got a bunch of assembly to do. I got a couple surprises. You know, we got to get things finished. Got this truck just about wrapped up. Tom really pulled off this paint job. He's been working overtime. Brought it out here to Hot Rod Bob's compound, his testing facility. It's looking good.
I feel great, man. I look at the truck and it's like I can't stop looking at it. It's so cool looking. Yeah, I got these mufflers from Porter and I think they look great and they sound fantastic.
It's all about the details in the end. He's got the grille all finished, the headlights installed, the rims are powder coated. This looks awesome, dude. I mean, the patina is something I wasn't expecting at all.
Right,
It's freaking cool. Everything about this truck came together like really clean, man.
Yeah.
The clincher for our deadline was this car club meet that Tom's been talking about. He's invited everybody over. Today is the day, and the truck is here.
The Defenders Car Club, man, it's just a great bunch of people. Yeah, there it is, check it out. They've seen the truck from the beginning. They've seen it when it was just a rusty cab and bed and had no hope.
I remember the day you got it, you were like all proud of it. We're all going,
It's really cool to see their reaction to the truck, you know. They're walking around it, they're checking it out. Yeah, Ian built this trunk area in here.
Oh, it's a great little truck.
And we're getting the thumbs up from everybody.
I think the biggest satisfaction of getting this built together is the fact that it really does look like a timepiece. It looks like nothing ever happened to this truck, which is pretty different for me. It's kind of awesome.
Oh, I love it. I just like the stance and the looks of it. It's got the right look for what I like as far as a hot rod. The truck actually has history, so that's pretty cool to put that back on the road and have it keep some of its original look to it.
I heard there was going to be a race. We came here on a mission. There's a reason we came to the racetrack. Tom wants to race Bob, or maybe Bob wants to race Tom. I don't know how it's going to work out, but there's two cars here, and they're going in the dirt. There's no time like the present. Now, I want you to remember one thing. Go that way really fast.
I'm not saying that I'm gonna win or anything, you know, but it'll be a lot of fun to just get out there with them and tear it up.
I know he doesn't stand a chance. I have a little bit of practice on this track.
I'm here strictly for moral support. It's like a parent raising their child. I've done all they can, and now it's time to set them free.
I'm having fun. I'm all in it. I'm going for it, and then nothing.
This is just par for the course. You know, it's a maiden voyage. It runs great in the driveway. You start slamming it around the dirt, there's gonna be a fail rate.
Here I am. I just built this hot rod pickup. I'm out here having fun with it. I got all my friends watching. The truck dies on me.
That is dry. Yeah. Tap on the float bowl, just see if it helps or something. Don't be so traumatized, man. I've been doing this for 20 years plus. This is typical.
Come to find out, it was the fuel cap, not venting. So fix that, and runs great.
The truck fires right back up, and I'm back in it.
All right, champ. Now, I don't want this little setback to get you down. We're still in the race, man. I got some leeway with the referees, and they're gonna give you a timeout on this one. And I think we can come back stronger than before. The thing here is all attitude. You know, you can't get rattled.
Ian's being a really good pit boss, and I'm digging it. I'm loving the help.
This is the vintage race that you read about. 34 internationals racing a Model A Ford. I mean, this is cool old-time stuff.
Yeah, that's how you do it, man.
So I get out there on the track, you know, the first couple laps, and I'm loving it, man. I'm learning what the truck can do and what it's responding to. I'm loving this truck, man. I can't stop saying it, I really do, I love it.
Tom pulls in and he's all smiles. The truck's running good, sounds good, it's looking good. The biggest takeaway from this build is the satisfaction of helping a couple guys out who have done so much for me. That's the way car clubs work, is people help each other out, and this is proof in the pudding.
For him to have his truck out here and everybody hooping and hollering at him was really bitching. I mean, that was so cool for Tommy.
Yeah, I built this!
Whenever I've worked with Ian, it's the hardest I've ever worked in my life. It's ridiculous, you know, but I'm inspired to keep looking for another project.
Ian, and he's such a hard worker and he gets things done fast. And to see him do his magic was crazy.
Tom's truck is a success. You know, this is a good day, good get-together party. I think my job is done here. On to the next.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Rousell attempts to get a 1958 Harley-Davidson Sportster back on the road.
My friend Kai has had this bike for 20 years.
The Sportster is very dear to my heart. I would really love to have Ian put it back the right way.
This thing is like old school, it's legit. Looks just like a lot of the other projects I get involved with. It's just a pile of parts.
Well, that's why you're the man for this project.
I think this is gonna be more of a custom bike than a restoration.
With his wheels spinning, Ian kickstarts his own bike.
I want that.
You want that?
Yeah. Pure potential. This bike is gonna be way stripped down. Race style.
He's just totally taken the hard road here. This looks like it's from another planet or something. It's so much easier to start with something cool than start with something butt ugly and try to make it cool.
And with 2 projects on the line, it's a race to the finish.
Kai's got that look in his eye again, and I'm thinking, ain't seen nothing yet.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm over here at my friend Kai's house. Kai hasn't told me much about this project, but I know he's always collecting, he's buying and selling bikes all the time, so I'm sure it's gonna be something cool.
Well, you know, my 58 Sportster, had it for years.
A little worse for wear. What's going on with this thing?
Well, I got it a long time ago. I had the bike for about 20 years almost, I think. It's a 58 Sportster. I tried to restore it at some point and got to a certain degree and then finally gave up because I ran out of A, money, and B, time.
You're not even gonna ride this, who are we kidding?
I'll ride it.
You ain't going nowhere.
I'll take it to a bike show, how's that?
I see what you're riding. Look at that thing. You're outed.
Well, that's not mine, that's a test bike. I've been with Easy Riders or Paisano Publications for going on 30 years. As an editor, as a writer, as a photographer. It's all about motorcycles. I get to ride brand new bikes almost every day. That's an Electroglide. It's got GPS, AM, FM, the Weather Channel. And it's,
The Weather Channel.
Everything you want.
I don't think this has GPS.
No.
Or an AM, FM stereo.
And I wouldn't want it to.
Yes, right. That's what it's all about, 1958.
Yep.
The cool factor with this Sportster is it's legit. Any part of the world, this thing is like world-class, old-school Harley-Davidson. So obviously it's been changed to a hardtail. That's pretty much what you're looking to do. Just simple, slick, bar hopper style.
Yeah, just something very simple.
Looks just like a lot of the other projects I get involved with. It's just a pile of parts.
Well, that's why you're the man for this project.
Yeah, there's more here this time than the last one. So do you have anything else for it?
There's some parts in the corner there.
Kai knows what motorcycles are made of, and he's made a point to collect a bunch of stuff. He's got like 3 or 4 different carburetors. Looks like a bunch of different years. He's got a seat. He's got a few other things, but I think this is gonna be more of a custom bike than a restoration.
I just don't want a whole bunch of junk on my bike that he finds wherever, you know. I just wanted as period correct as possible.
This is cool. It looks like that engine is definitely seen some love.
Well, when I originally got the bike, it was a runner. And so after sitting around for a long time, I wasn't sure if the engine was gonna run again or not. Ian kicked it over, there was compression, so it's a good sign. So, what would you want for this?
I want that.
You want that?
Yeah. That.
You want that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Naturally, I'm entranced by this early Harley, but just over my shoulder, there's a police motorcycle. KZ1000, that's a hot rod.
I've never really ridden it. I've had it for a little while.
Apparently Kai got this in a trade or something. I guess his buddy picked up a few of them at the auction. It's a typical scenario. These police bikes get decommissioned after a certain mileage, and somehow Kai ended up with one. This is a KZ1000. Did you ever see Road Warrior or Mad Max?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going on underneath here.
Right. I'm just not a big Kawasaki guy, you know?
I'm not a big Kawasaki guy either, but look at that engine.
When Ian said that he was also interested in the Kawasaki, I was a little surprised. I didn't think Ian would even want it. For me, I appreciate the aesthetics of a Harley.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
there isn't
right.
much aesthetics going on here.
No? What do you mean? You got a utility box? It's almost like your Harley. You got two on the side, one in the back.
Okay.
You've got the Harley mentality. This police motorcycle isn't in your interest at all. And I'm thinking, this thing's got potential. I could get to work on this. This thing's groovy. It runs, though?
Yeah. Start her up.
It starts right up.
Yeah.
Well, it almost starts right up. Sounds good.
I don't really know what he's gonna do with it, but I mean, yeah, if anybody can do something with it, it certainly would be Ian.
I'll even give you back all the baggage. You could put it on your other bike so it looks like the one you drive every day, huh? I'll give you those back.
Yeah, you want it?
I see this thing as a stripped-down race bike. This thing is cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. You build that Sportster, you can keep that.
I'll do that.
I'll
It's a
trade
deal.
you for labor.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm all about getting Kai's project together for sure, but now I have something to work on too. I want to get both of these back to the shop and get to it. Got both of these bikes back to the shop, and I just wanted to be sure that this thing Kai gave me was a runner. I'm all about this deal we made, but I want to be sure it's a driving motorcycle. I figure if it doesn't detonate in the first 1 minute of torture, it's a keeper, so this is the test. You never know what you're getting into, and I just want to confirm my suspicions. This bike is a rocket ship. You gotta get all this extra stuff off of it. First order of business is to pull off all of this bodywork. All I was interested in this bike was the mechanical capacity, and it's a runner. Everything else is gone. My idea for this bike is to create a new fairing and a couple little body panels. I don't want it to be like a stripped down Street Fighter outlaw looking thing. I want it to look more like a cafe racer. Pure potential. Kai's bike is requiring an oil tank. I'm sure he'd like me to go get a motorcycle oil tank, but that's not in the cards. My friend Gary's got a bunch of stuff. You can come up with any term you want, a connoisseur, a hoarder, whatever. Not only does he have a shop full of cool old stuff, he's a motorcycle dude. I was neighbors with Gary for over 10 years. He's the go-to guy.
When he first moved in, he worked on numerous different projects, and they're all very interesting. I couldn't keep my nose out of his business because I wanted to see what he's going to build next.
Just like with any of my friends or clients, I'm always keeping an inventory of the good stuff they've got. And I know what he has. Just got to find it.
Any shape is usable in Ian's world. And I have a lot of odds and ends here, and that's why he keeps coming back.
Hey, look at that. Oh, you're holding out on the good stuff, man. That's an oil tank. That's perfect.
An oil tank.
Gary's speaking the same language as me. Right off the bat, he pulls out this stainless steel tank. It's ideal. It's just too big. Well, this thing is cool, but if it was like half the size, because the whole tank should be about this big, he starts pulling out all these different cylinders, canisters, just tubular shapes.
Here's another piece, but it's got 3 holes in it.
That size is ideal.
Well, you want more of these, this size, I have a box of them out in the yard.
The only thing with an oil tank is that it is liquid tight. I think these things are perfect. The fact that they're stainless steel means they can be polished, and what's not cool about that? Look at that.
There you go.
That's freaking exactly it. These things look like little freaking pieces of a spaceship or something. What are they?
No, actually, they were just water filters.
Oh, so there was an element that goes inside.
Early years of water filtering. This was a hot item.
Gary had bins of these shapes, so I grabbed a bunch of them, and I'm gonna figure out what I need to do to make it work. When you look at most old school choppers, rigid hardtail style bikes, they have like a round oil tank. That's just what looks cool. This bike is a vintage style, period looking thing, and I thought these water canister filter things were gonna look perfect. I cleaned up Kai's bike and painted the frame. This bike is stripped down, very similar to what I'm doing, so you see all the mechanical components. I want this thing to look clean and right. I don't see an oil filter anywhere on this bike, so that's something to consider when you're building an oil tank. Any bit of abrasive, any steel filing, anything that happens when you're building a tank and is left in there, it's gonna go down to the oil pump and ruin it. So it's critical that there's nothing in here, no dirt, no nothing. It is maybe some junk on Kai's bike. I think I'm gonna fool him. I think it will pass the period correct or whatever test he's looking for. Come on, Hellhound. Let's get on to the fun part of the project. I'm really in a good spot on Kai's Harley, so I'm waiting on him to come by. I'm just gonna start working on this until he gets here. It's kind of like the sky's the limit at this point, really. There's a few different ways you could go about doing anything, but I really see this as kind of a road racer. You can see when you're riding this bike, you're up here. I think I want to be more like racing, like this. I'm always looking for a starting point for all my projects. Looking through my stash, I found these headlights. There's just something cool about them. When I saw these headlights, I figured I'm gonna build the bike around these. So really, I'm looking at this as engine, exhaust, and headlights. All I have to do is make everything else fit. This bike wasn't something that I've dreamed of building for a long time. It was basically thrown in my lap. So I'm leaving this open to artistic inspiration. You know, whatever comes out. I'm not sure what it's gonna be. Bug-eyed, I like that already. Kai's bike is a definite. It's gonna be a really mellow, old school bobber. This Kawasaki is like my artistic release on this whole event. I like the loose stuff, you know? This thing is nothing but potential. It could get crazy. I want to create a new front fairing, so I'm creating a metal structure that I can fiberglass later. I'm not sure how this thing's gonna end up, what the final shape will be, but I know I've got to hold some material in space somehow. Aha!
Ian.
Cue the applause.
Your guard dog here.
Kai walks in and it's like a beeline, straight to his bike.
Oh, there it is. Wow, look at it. Wow, it looks nice, man.
Yeah, it's getting close.
To see the bike sitting there on his workbench, I mean, it looks great. You know, it actually looks like a bike at this point. You know, there's still a lot missing, but you can see what it's gonna be.
Kai's looking the bike over, you know, it looks a little different than he saw it last, and the first thing his eyes go to is that oil tank. I'm just sitting back waiting for the response.
I really like the oil tank, man. This looks really cool.
Kai's first reaction was that I went to a swap meet and picked up an old chopper oil tank or something. But upon more developed conversation, it's a little canister that holds a water filter for like a purification system. He was slowly eased into the fact that I took some junk water filters and welded them together.
It's kind of weird because I told him I didn't want any junk on my bike, and then he basically put junk on my bike. But I gotta admit, I mean, he did a good job. It looks great. Check this out. This is cool.
That's your little filler. I'll polish that so it's just aluminum color.
Yeah. Knowing Ian, I kind of figured he'd come up with something like that. Damn, looks good.
Kai's bike is missing a number of parts. This is the basket case you heard about. So we're just going through all parts list, just figuring out what he's gonna have to get and what I can make.
We're going over my bike and talking about different things that are still needed. I sort of glanced around to the other side and there was his Kawasaki standing there and I just kind of thought, what the heck? It doesn't look anything like I remember it. I barely recognized it. It was completely stripped down, and he had some weird stuff around it, and it didn't even look like the bike that I had in my garage.
So I stripped off all that unnecessary stuff, and it's half the size it used to be. Spent some time trying to describe to Kai exactly where I'm going with this project, and unfortunately, I'm not that sure, so my argument wasn't very convincing. It's gonna be cool.
Not as cool as this one, I hope.
Well, we'll see.
I can't even picture it. I know he can go crazy with stuff, so I don't want him to go wild on my bike. I just sort of need to rein him in a little bit, you know, if I can.
The end result was that I convinced him that none of the crazy over there was gonna kind of come onto his project, so he was okay with that. So if you just tuned in right now, you probably have a big question mark, like, what? Is he just wrapping his motorcycle like a lunch sandwich? The answer is yes. The fiberglass will not float in space. It needs something to lay on. That's all this is. All this gets torn out later. All I'm doing is creating a pile of stuff to lay the fiberglass on. The way I'm laying it up looks like a disaster. A professional would not go about it this way, but I take my inspiration from Ed Roth. This is the way Ed Roth did it with his cars. He didn't do it with foil, he did it with plaster. He roughed out a big blob of something, and then he refined it repeatedly with fiberglass. And that's really where I got this idea from. No fiberglass for dogs. Beat it. You won't even wear safety glasses. How am I gonna let you near this stuff? So this will be a first layer, and the next ones will be put on a little bit more precise. Pretty rough looking setup, but if you look at the exterior surface of this, it'll just get more and more refined. The whole idea with this is that it is a sculpture, so just like you start off with a big ugly piece of marble, you end up with a thing in a museum. This is the same thing. This is raw potential. So I'm in the heat of the moment, you know, I'm getting down. This is like arts and crafts hour, and Kai shows up on the shining steed. And I'm like, wow. I'm there working on this junky old bike, and he pulls in like Mr. Rockstar.
Hey, hey.
Say, that's a nice bike.
You like?
Yeah.
I have this Harley Heritage Softail because I do a lot of test rides for Rhode Iron magazine. And so I get a new bike pretty much every month, a different bike, that I then have to ride and photograph for the magazine.
That thing is clean. That's like a pearl white paint, too. That thing's nice.
Yeah. So, what the hell is this, man?
It's arts and crafts hour.
This is,
You never saw somebody make a motorcycle out of aluminum foil and fiberglass?
This looks like it's from another planet or something.
When Kai came in, you know, the bike was kind of half finished, right? I got stopped by his arrival, so it just looked terrible. It's like as if you dropped something right in the middle of the process.
I looked at the Kawasaki, and I didn't recognize it. It looked worse than it did before.
The hard thing to understand if you don't really see the process I go through regularly is that it gets pretty loose, so it always looks worse before it looks better, and it's starting to get bad. You can see that I'm pretty proficient at this, so if you want to put some kind of a headset or even a little extra action, in fact, if you want a blob on your handlebars,
I think not.
Kai's giving me the eye, you know, the stink eye, checking out my machine. So I just say, let's put it on the side and we'll get back on your project, nice and comfortable. Kai brought in a headlight and a few other things that were missing for this project. But before we start on the cosmetic stuff, there's a bunch of issues with the front forks we need to deal with. The problem with the fork was somebody didn't tighten it right, so the internal parts came apart. The whole concept here is you have to keep this shock absorber assembly extended fully, but the internal tubes telescope into each other. So I'm trying to push this up through the bottom of the fork tube, and they're just closing on themselves. There's no way to get them out of the top. No, that's the problem. This has to be extended. We were stuck trying to figure it out, and Kai came up with an idea.
But see, because of gravity, it keeps this rod down, and we need to have it come up. So if we could somehow attach this to something like a wire, pull it in.
Put a rod or put a thread rod on that.
Yeah,
pull it up, put the spring, compress it, and push it.
There you go.
That guy's good, man.
Man, I'm good, huh?
That's why he works. That's why he works with the big magazines.
That's right, that's why I'm making the big bucks. Ian puts a little bolt on there, screws that in to anchor the string, and then we put the whole thing together and pull the string through the tube and up through the top. And it worked perfectly. I was really pleasantly surprised.
It worked.
Amazing. Ian is a out-of-the-box thinker. He always comes up with solutions to the most complex problems, you know, where you think, well, how the heck did he do that? So for me to come up with a problem where he says, hey, that's great, yeah, that was pretty cool.
This thing worked, we screwed it together, put the finishing touches on the front forks, installed the headlight, and this thing's starting to look good. Last time Kai was in the shop, he was working on his bike. You know, he's getting his fingers greasy. Today he shows up and he wants to do his thing. Tells me he wants to pull off a photo shoot for one of the magazines with the new motorcycle he was given.
I've got this test bike for Road Iron magazine. It's a Softail Heritage Classic. And the lines of the bike remind me a little bit of the Sportster lines. And so there's definitely some parallels there that I thought would look good in a photo shoot.
Well, I ain't got time for no photo shoot, you know? I like to build stuff. So I'm gonna use some valve springs he brought in and try to mount his seat.
And so I'm trying to get Ian to set the Sportster up behind the test bike. Can you move the table a little bit back?
Say when.
Right there is good.
I'm in the middle of stuff, so he's trying to utilize that. Could you stand over here, not in the way, da-da-da-da-da.
I'd like to get some... Oh, now he's working on that. Jesus Christ. I need you to get out of the picture for a little bit so I can just get the shot of the bike and not you.
It's like he's running stuff, and that's it's caused a little conflict.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Where are you gonna cut this? Can you cut it on the other side? I'm trying to get him to do certain things for me, like work in the background on the bike and maybe grind something so you got these sparks flying. Hey, by the way, if you could maybe get me some sparks in the background.
Sparks?
Yeah, for some added drama, you know what I mean?
I'm in the groove. I get pretty serious, and Kai is the same way with his deal. But, you know, I could see that he's not wanting to let me do what I need to, so I'm gonna roust him a little, you know? I can give it when I'm getting it. Don't piss me off!
I guess we all have our limits, so, you know, it's Ian, so he'll get over it in a split second and everything will be kosher.
In the end, Kai got all the shots he needs. I get the seat welded in. I want to lift this off the table, put the rear tire on, and have Kai sit on it. That's really what I was hoping to accomplish. It's way too heavy for two guys to lift. So I'm going to come up with a special armature apparatus thing. You know, it's what us professionals do.
Well, then he has his forklift coming in, and I'm thinking, what the heck is he thinking? I mean, a forklift's a bit dramatic for a little bike, you know.
Kai was, I think, awestruck by my rigging potential.
And this is gonna hold? Ian has some very strange ideas sometimes, and that was one of the stranger ones, I think. I mean, he's using these tie downs to wrap this thing every which way, and I'm thinking this thing is gonna just drop to the ground.
So what I'm gonna ask you to do, sir,
okay,
man the forklift. Hop in.
Hop in?
When it's in neutral.
Now, you know I've never driven anything like this before in my life.
You don't have to.
Okay,
all you have to do is pull this one when I say. And if I say push it, push it. You're just gonna see how it balances. Pull it. Give it a little gas. Once the thing picks up, you can tell it's gonna hold. So we're not driving around too far. I'm just gonna move the table, drop it on the floor. See that, man? You're a natural.
Boy, this is fun. I could be a professional forklift driver. As usual, Ian knows what he's doing. He's done this before. Hot diggity dog, look at that. Wow. To me, the most exciting moment at that point was to be able to actually see it on the ground. I was speechless for a few minutes there, you know. After all these many years, it's like, yeah, this is right. This is just the way it should be. Perfect, man. This is awesome.
I think the thing that Kai liked most about it was that it was comfortable.
Well, once you sit on it, the saddle is very, very comfortable. You know, it's just the way it's supposed to be. I can't wait to ride this thing. Feels good. It feels like I belong on this bike. Huh, this is pretty damn cool.
It's gonna be all right.
Yep, I think so.
You know, I'd say it's a close runner-up to the motorcycle that I'm building. It's a good-looking machine. You're definitely gonna take second place.
You think so?
Well, things got heated a little earlier in the day, you know, so I don't hold grudges, but I like to stab it back a little once in a while. So Kai's sitting there admiring the machine, and I'm thinking, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just look at that thing over there. You got your fiberglass drooling off the rear fender. I mean, that's got a look. It's kind of Sigmund and the Sea Monsters right now. It's pretty groovy.
Well, the way it looks right now, I don't think it's going to compete anywhere. I'm still not 100% sure which way he's going. I see the fiberglass sort of like dripping off the damn thing, and he can probably work wonders with a Kawasaki, but it's a Kawasaki, you know? It's not meant to look great. And, you know, there's only so much you can do, even Ian. I have seen nicer bikes, though, in my life. I can't say I've seen uglier ones.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Kai's got that look in his eye again, I know, and I'm just gonna keep feeding him. He's unsure as to where I'm going, and I think the end result is gonna show.
He's surprised me before, and I wouldn't be surprised if he surprises me again.
After Kai kind of tore into my bike, it got me really motivated to make some progress on it. I need to smooth out this fiberglass, get onto the body filler, make a smooth, streamlined body panel for this thing. I got the shape of my bike refined. I figure since Kai's such a naysayer, I'll have him come over and check it out.
Hey, Ian.
Hey, man, what's happening?
What are you doing? Whoa, dude.
Hellhound, take it easy. Doing busy work, man.
Brought you a little present here, a little chain pie.
Kai comes in with some parts for his bike, and he walks right past my bike like he doesn't even notice it. Perfect fit. Cool, so I can get all these bolts, and I'll bolt all this stuff up together.
All right.
But I'm busy on something right now.
What are you doing?
Another mad scientist experiment. So you remember my Sigmund the Sea Monster rear fender? That changed a little bit.
Looks nice, man.
Yeah.
Wow, this is smooth. I took a look at the Kawasaki, and I was actually really surprised at what he'd done. Man, it's
getting close.
Looks nice. I said a few harsh things. Maybe that's what sort of got him to try to work harder on the Kawasaki. I guess whatever I said, it worked, because I didn't expect that at all. I really didn't.
I think Kai is finally beginning to see the light, if you will, because he didn't know where I was heading. You know, it's hard to establish what someone's plan is by looking at a lump of fiberglass. So now it does have a look. It looks like a motorcycle, and I think he's starting to respond. So the point I'm up to here is setting up for the old barbecue. Every mad scientist's lab needs their heating element.
Oh, I should have brought my camera, man.
This project is really just a culmination of so many different skill sets I've been working on. You got your metal fabrication, finished bodywork, paint, and now this new plastic forming thing. So I just keep stacking them up. Pretty soon I'm gonna need to get a sewing machine, injection molding for building my own tires. I mean, who knows where it could go. I wanna create a really cool acrylic bubble that will represent the windscreen. And Kai's seen me do a lot of things, but he's never there for the process. So I'm gonna have him help me out with it.
I'm ready to crank it up. Do it now?
Yep. This acrylic dome is critical because that's what's trick. My main concern with this whole bike was having like a real fluid line to it. And if you just wrap a piece of flat plastic, the windshield just isn't gonna be the same.
Pretty crazy, man. Works. All right.
Look at that, man. That looks like a racing motorcycle.
I gotta tell you, man, this looks pretty damn good.
I was kind of turned the corner on this. All of a sudden, you could see that I'm serious. I got a plan.
Yeah, it's starting to look like something, man. I can see that he's turning it into a cafe racer. And I get the whole idea now, and I think I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him finish this thing, because now I know he's gonna make something really cool out of it.
Now that he's seen my creative process, I figure we'll switch gears and get creative on his bike. The rear fender's critical to the overall look. You had this fender, and it's a front fender, and I know you only want to run a rear. And the issue is that it's too wide for this.
Yeah.
I got this fender from my friend Gary.
Okay.
And this is a rear fender from, I don't know what year, 80s, some kind of shovel head or whatever, but just old stock, never been used. Just gives it a little more room, you know?
Size-wise, it's ideal, but it wraps around too much, so we don't want that. We want to have a better look to it.
Just tell me what you're thinking proportion-wise, and then
Okay.
I'll just trim it to fit and make some brackets. Should be pretty easy.
The whole idea was to cut it and to figure out how short it should be, and he just says, all right, here, you do it. I mean, it's kind of like it's your problem.
It's all you.
It's all me. The look of the bike could be ruined if it's a little too short, if it's too long. Adding weight to the importance of this whole thing is the fact that it's the only fender on there. There's no front fender, you know? So if you're gonna have a fender, one fender, make it right. You know, it's gotta fit perfectly. He made it my decision, and that's okay because it's my bike. It should be my decision, and so I think I got it to where I wanted, and I think it'll look great.
Yeah, I like that. The last thing to finish it off was to make some mounting hardware.
The rear part of the fender sort of hung over it, and Ian then had the idea, what if we moved the whole support system back a little bit and line it up with the end of the fender? Once I thought about that, it was like, yeah, that's perfect. That's what we got to do. Cool. I love it, man. This is awesome.
It's getting close.
Yes, sir. Aesthetics is a big part of this whole thing. This is why you customize bikes. I'm totally excited about it because I can see it's becoming more and more of a bike.
These bikes are almost done. A few more things, and we're ready to ride them. For me, paint is a time to get loose. I like to try crazy stuff. I got some ideas for sort of a racing-inspired paint scheme. I'm gonna get down. Bottom line here is I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this is going. I might just sand it all off. I know I want a number. Doesn't look good, I'll just do it over. Got tons of free paint. Thanks, Eastwood. I'll just keep painting. You know, the Terminator chose the Harley, but that other Terminator chose the Kawasaki cop bike. One Terminator drove, jumped into the freaking LA riverbed. Then the other bike jumped out of a building onto a helicopter, and that's the one I got, so I think that's what Kai and I are gonna have to do to test these things out. Let's see who pulls it off. I got a bunch of these finishes from Eastwood. It's really cool. It's just it's a candy coat. The more you thin it out, you can get different variations of the same tone green. I want it to be like a heavy metal flake finish. I'm just gonna use the flake right out of my hand because I want it heavy, and voila. Not 100% sure about this design. Starting to get a little crazy, but the good thing is I could always repaint it. The whole thing with this paint scheme is just like the bike in general. I wasn't dying to do this. I'm just messing around. Yes, Nose, can I help you? He's always up on my stuff. He's always making sure I did it right. Look, that's pretty crisp, right? Loves him some tape. All right, so we got to start. I got a silver base and a couple decal graphic thingers. So you see him coming up with these spears. I'll do the same deal on the front, but I want to have some kind of action coming off the number. And you know, you would think flames or lightning bolts or something fast. I'm always trying to come up with creative problem solving with stuff that's around the shop. Trying to nail this really cool paint scheme. There's an old school painter's trick using a bunch of acetylene fumes. I got lots of acetylene laying around. I'm just gonna turn it on and see what happens. Fresh paint, tape, and masking paper, and then open the acetylene flame. What could possibly go wrong? Back in the day, before there was all this airbrush phenomenon in the paint schemes, sometimes a painter would just take the acetylene torch, use it on the paint job itself, literally put the actual smoke fumes on the paint scheme and then bury it in clear coat. Right now, this soot, if I touch it, it'll wipe right off, so I'm gonna spray some clear on it to trap it, and then you'll be able to touch it, and I'll be able to mask off the rest of the details I wanna do. That's really what it's about. I'm just gonna keep on putting on paint. I don't know where it's gonna go. We'll find out when I'm done. Today's the day. Kai is on his way in, and we're ready to start this bike. I'm really just thinking I'm gonna kind of goof on Kai with this whole thing. There was a whole parts stash I got from my friend Gary, and there was just so much potential on Gary's shelves, I wanted to see it on this bike. I put him on the bike, and it's on. This is a 70s style deal. I don't care if Kai doesn't like it. I like it. No chopper style bike is complete without the ultimate sissy bar. This is just a goof, right? So I'm just gonna take a piece of this rod. It's a little tube, I'm gonna fold it in half. Set that thing up with the cool cat eye lens, tail lamp, voila. I'm really feeling it now. I mean, standing back and looking at this thing, it just needs one more element. Final detail for the mountain holiday. Every motorcyclist needs one. Nothing says commitment like all the details. See what I'm talking about? Not everybody is hip to the trip. Just needs like 10-foot long forks. You're there.
Hey, Ian. How's it going?
Good, man. Got your bike just about ready to start.
Oh, man, check it out.
Did a little restyling.
Holy moly. Look at this thing. Fishtails and everything. This is terrific, man. I love this. This is great. When I walked in, I was really surprised at how the bike had changed. Yeah, he may have meant it as a joke, but I was digging it. I was loving it. Man, this is awesome.
The joke was on me. He walked in and loved it. I thought you were gonna hate it. I guess you're into it.
No, I love it. I love the fishtails. I love the sissy bar.
Well, I was thinking this was just a whole goof with these big fishtail pipes. He loved them, so I had to tell him that, hey, I actually built you a legit pair of drag pipes, something a little mellower. You know, well, I built this style out of the pipes that you had.
These are the ones you built?
Yes, and I wrapped them with the heat wrap.
The pipes that he made look beautiful. The whole look that he created with those pipes, I thought were perfect.
I set this whole thing up to be ready to run today, so I just pulled off all the parts I was balking up, getting into my little visualization, put on Kai's proper exhaust. I know that all the electrical stuff's in order. I'm hooking up the battery, and now the big question, does Kai want to do it? Let's fire it up.
Let's fire it up just like that?
You ready to rock?
Primed and everything?
Yeah. Do you want to start this, or do you want me to? It's your call.
I'll start her up. You're talking 20-some years, you know, since the last time, so there was no way I was gonna let him do it. I'm nervous.
Kai is all worked up. Remember, this engine was sitting in a corner of his garage for almost 20 years. He's been staring at it, and now he's looking at it, and it's in a motorcycle with everything hooked up. It's showtime.
This is like the moment of truth.
I saw us fire.
All right. And it actually started up, and that was hellacious. I loved it. That was the moment that I'd been waiting for, really, to see that motor working again and listen to it and hear it fire. And
hey, it worked.
Wow.
That was only the fourth kick.
I was totally stoked. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for, you know? 20 years. This is awesome.
Kai's all charged up. He's feeling confident, and I'm thinking, you know, I know machines. We got to get this thing warmed up. I'm ready to start tuning it, you know? I'm going to turn the timing a little bit and start to get it right, and then all hell breaks loose.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Holy, what do you got?
Nothing.
You got any rags or anything? And all of a sudden, it's like, this whole thing just starts up in flames, you know?
I've lit stuff on fire plenty of times. Something, I'll grab a rag, you know, casually walk around the shop. I turn my head and it's a blazing inferno. This thing's been dumping fuel the whole time it's been running. I whip my shirt off, I'm trying to snuff it. No dice, this thing is hot.
I guess you don't have a fire extinguisher, huh?
I got 3 fire extinguishers right on the wall, and I'm like, I don't want to mess up his bike. I know what these things do, so I'm just hoping it'll go out. And that sucker is flaming. It's 7 feet tall. I gotta use the extinguisher. I puffed it lightly, you know, just a little pop, went right out. Sure thing. In the end, we didn't melt anything really. Some of the insulation on the wires got charred up. It's not the end of the world. We cleaned it up, put some more fuel to it, and kicked it over again. And it fired up again. It runs good. It's gonna be good to go.
I'm just glad you remembered you had a fire extinguisher. I was looking around all over the place.
I knew where they were, but I'm just like, I don't want to make a mess. It's only Kai's motorcycle. I don't want to dirty the floor.
Thanks a lot.
Kai wants a simple black bike. It's old as history itself. It's a classic look. You can't go wrong. I got these vintage flats paints. It's a semi-gloss black, single stage, simple to spray, and it looks great. It's hard to dispute the power of a nice black paint job. I'm spraying on this vintage flats on Kai's bike, and I'm starting to think other thoughts about my bike. I was getting carried away with the paint job, just trying it out. I was getting a little disco inferno, you know, just thinking about the flavor. And in the end, I decided I wanted something that was a little bit more fit for the wasteland. You know, just a little more post-apocalyptic, road warrior style bike, and flat black really added to that. The whole deal with this project was the transformation. You saw this kind of very upright police motorcycle, and I just took it all wrong and made it gnarly, a very aggressive machine. I knew what was inside of it, and I just let it out. Kai's bike turned out really cool. We got both bikes out here. They're running good. We're just testing them.
I love the way it looks. I just love the way it looks. It's old school. The general ride itself was exactly what I hoped for. You know, just smooth and has a lot of power. 15, 20 years, this has been in the works, basically. And so took it to Ian, and he got it done, and I'm stoked. Sounds great, man. I love it.
All in all, if I had to pick one, I'm going with the Sportster. It's a little too small for me, but it's just a way cool motorcycle. These Kawasaki's are kind of a dime a dozen. They're super awesome motorcycles, but the class factor, I gotta go with the Harley.
Well, Ian's bike, his Kawasaki, I mean, like I said, I didn't think in the beginning he was gonna do anything with this thing. Ian, as usual, pulls a rabbit out of the hat, or whatever you want to call it, and I actually got to ride it too. I figured, why not? You know, give it a shot, and I was really pleasantly surprised. It's a cool little bike.
It's part of what I do here is to convert the unwary, the unknowing, the unguided. Just like I did with the trike, Kai came around, doing it the same thing with this Kawasaki. I was trying out these motorcycles just because they were presented. It's not really what I do. I'm ready to get back and build some crazy cool custom cars.
So what happened, Kai? You resorted to riding the Kawasaki?
I'm not Kai, I'm his twin brother.
So what are you doing right now?
I'm trying to get this thing started, but it won't start.
Maybe it heard you talking so much bad about it.
Probably,
right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Roadside assistance. I should have bought a Harley.
You look good on that thing, dude.
Don't even publish that.
Right now on Full Custom Garage, Master Metalman Ian Rousell takes on a 1944 fire truck.
These are the basic building blocks for my inspired project. Holy moly, this thing is crazy. It looks like a Model T. I think if I made it smaller that way, and lower that way, that could be a hot rod.
I've never seen one done on this great a scale with such big parts.
My friend Tom and I are gonna put this together for his charity car show.
But when the guys get into it, things don't go as planned.
Tom's yelling, fire, fire. I'm like, what are we gonna do about that?
Should we call the fire department?
With the car show quickly approaching, Ian has to get down and make it happen.
Like a 3 a.m. roll call. I woke up, realized the course of action, followed through.
Yeah, man, now it's looking like a hot rod.
I friend Tom's in the shop. We're doing a project, and he's talking about this car show he's got coming up.
Every year I throw an annual car show, and it's a fundraiser to help raise funds to send kids to summer camp. I think if Ian shows up, it's gonna kick the attendance up a notch. It's 1 month away, and I think you should show up.
I say we just build something. Like, just build something new and bring it to your show to reveal it. I think that would be a hit.
So I was thinking, man, it'd be really cool if Ian showed up to my car show, but now he's talking about building something. You're telling me that you're gonna build, that we're gonna build.
Yeah, you gotta be here. Tom's kind of blown away. So he's a little concerned, but I think we could do this. I got this potential up at my friend Bill's house, and if I can get that off his hill, I'll bring it down here and you'll see. He'll be totally into it.
I'm on board, let's do it.
Cool, you just gotta be here. That's
I'll be
all
here.
it takes.
I guess I'm gonna be here for the next month building something with Ian. Hopefully we get it done.
We're up at Bill's, and the treasure hunt is on.
Now this is the chassis that the roll-off truck you did came off of.
This is a 1948 International Harvester. It's a KB8. It's a big rig. We used the body on Bill's other project truck. So he had all the components from the early truck left over. This thing is old school, man. It almost looks like an old hot rod frame you would start with, just gigantic. The axle's super cool. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was like a giant Model T or something, just the way everything looks. There's a reason Bill didn't use this. It's pretty rough. The engine is toast, transmission is who knows what. It's completely gunked up with dirt. I don't need any of that. All I need is the frame and the axles. It's a perfect starting point.
Yeah, this chassis is rough, but I didn't want to throw it away, and Ian doesn't like throwing away either.
I think I could build another vehicle out of this. Do you have a cab? Obviously, we used the cab on your other truck.
I do. I have 2 international bodies. I like international trucks, I always have, and every time one comes available, I got it.
So this is like a 48, it's the same as yours, right?
This is a 48. This would have been called a KB5.
Yeah, it's smaller.
Right.
And this is like a 54?
I think 53 or 4, something around that era.
And this bed was on the back of this red International
No, different vehicle altogether. This was off of a 1944 Seagraves fire truck, roadster type fire truck.
Crazy. Oh yeah, it's got these handles where they would hold on.
Yeah, the fireman would hang on. I doubt whether they're OSHA approved today.
Yeah, this is neat. Oh yeah, engine 4. It says it right on it.
Well, you know, I have the cab for this still. I don't have any frame.
You have the sheet metal?
I have the sheet metal roadster cab.
Well, never mind these little dinky pickup trucks. Where's the fire engine, man?
I'll show you the fire engine.
In Bill's endless pile of parts, he's got a fire truck. Holy moly.
Yeah, this is what's left of my fire truck.
Where do you get something like this?
Well, I bought this years ago at an auction, and it was a complete truck at that time. You know, I love the old fire truck because it's a roadster, and it's one of those keeps getting moved back project. I'm never gonna get around to it.
This is freaking awesome. This thing is crazy. It looks like a Model T with this cowl. And then an awesome, like for the Model Ts, for the racing cars, they would make a V-butted windshield, and this has already got it. I really need to check this thing out. Pulled it out of the weeds, and it's in very good shape. I know the chassis got the look. And then seeing this body and the bedsides, I'm thinking giant hot rod truck. So I think that this cab is the game changer, never mind those pickup trucks. Bill and I have got a really good working relationship. We exchange parts for work a lot of times. Judging by the amount of stuff that he just gave me, I might be in line with him for some really wild stuff.
I'm always excited to watch Ian and see his gears turning in his head and what he does.
These are the basic building blocks for my inspired project. I got this thing all cleaned up. It's ready to start work. Like any good project, the first thing you do is cut it up. This is a big old truck. I want to make it look more like a hot rod. All the dimensions have to be snugged up, made a little more low and streamlined. I think the coolest way to go about this is to use all the existing suspension components and reconfigure them. Achieve the look I'm going for with the stock stuff. Tom's coming in to help me work on this. He doesn't know anything about my little hot rod project, except that I'm building something cool. I hope it doesn't freak him out, because we got a lot of work to do.
Man, this thing's massive.
This is the grand master plan.
Yeah, but where's the rest of the truck?
This is it, man. It's a truck, right?
Where's the rest of it, though?
It's outside, man. We got pieces.
I walk into the shop, and there's no truck. There's just a frame. The car show's like 3 weeks away. It's like, what's going on here, Ian? Where's the truck? Jeez, it's massive.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put this together in 3 weeks with your help.
In 3 weeks, we're gonna get, man.
Yeah, all we have to do is build a whole truck.
That's all we gotta do.
I've done it before, man. We could make this happen. I'm not showing Tom the body of the truck yet. I think we should just focus on the suspension. I don't want him to get distracted. The suspension configuration is really the key to the whole look of this thing.
I'm excited. I'm big time excited for this big project. I have faith in Ian, so I'm just gonna follow along. I'm gonna see what happens.
The whole concept with the front end suspension on this project is it's a quarter elliptic, suicide style front end. The easiest way to describe it is I took the stock leaf springs, I cut them in half and turned them upside down. Made a whole bunch of brackets. It's all concept. I just want to put everything in place and see how it's going to fit up. Before, with the leaf spring and the chassis up here, if something broke, it just fell down on the axle. Now, if it breaks, it's going right to the ground.
The whole truck goes down.
They call it the suicide front end for a reason. You're really hanging the whole truck off of these fabricated parts on the axle. So now you can see how these little holders are gonna lock right on there.
People use suicide front ends all the time, but I've never seen one done on this great a scale with such big parts.
Unfortunately, there's really no way to test out a portion of this. I'm really committed to building the whole thing, getting it in place, and then seeing if it works. The way these radius rods comes off of the spindle, you see it in a lot of hot rods, you have to heat it up and bend it. The issue is this is a truck. It's gonna take a ton of heat. If you don't have enough heat, you could always give more leverage. That's kind of the thing. We got one 10-foot bar on one side. I got a crowbar on the other side. The torch is maxed out. We're just trying to get enough heat into this part to bend it. What I'm finding is I'm gonna need a bigger torch or a little more time. If you get the rosebud torch on the acetylene tank, you get a lot of heat. I don't have one. I'm trying to work it out.
There we go.
Eventually it bends. Metal turns plastic with enough heat. That was the whole issue. Just get enough heat in it, and we got it to move. Let's let that cool for about 3 hours. We needed to do that so that these rods won't foul on the steering. So this radius rod's gonna come in and grab that plate, and now the steering is completely above that. So I'm trying to explain to Tom what I'm cooking here. I got your typical radius rod scenario, but just giant size. I just set up the ends. This is a piece of a landing gear.
Ian pulls out this part. It's really cool. It's got this military green on it. He says it's from some landing gear. So is it cool to put airplane stuff on hot rods?
Yeah. You know that surplus place I love so much. They got all this good stuff. The lower arm on this radius rod needed a bend in it, about 90 degrees-ish. I wanted Tom to get on the machine and get a little workout, you know? Everybody thinks the fabrication is all glamorous, but it's also a heck of an exercise session. The last two pulls are really tough.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
The way this machine works is it increases leverage as you go around the dial. So Tom starts off, he's like, oh, this ain't no thing. I was like, keep on pulling, brother. You'll see what it's made of.
Oh. Wow, dude, how do you do this?
That's what I'm saying, it's freaking tough.
I've seen Ian pull tubes before, but he makes it look easy. It's not. It's not as easy as it looks. I win.
There you go, man, victory. Once I put the tubes in place, you could see it's got that look, that hot rod look. All of this is conceptual, but you never know till you try it.
If it works, yeah.
What do you mean, if? If it works, he's gonna eat his hat.
This hat? No, this is my favorite hat. I'm kind of skeptical. We're taking giant parts from a giant truck and we're trying to trick them out hot rod style. Anything could happen.
Drop her down.
Moment of truth, huh?
The big question in my head was, how is this gonna operate? Is it gonna swing smoothly through its arc, or is it gonna bind? Huh. Actually works. Oh, it totally works. Look at that. And as soon as I stepped on the chassis, I could tell the motion I wanted to see in the shackles was perfect. You know, you're getting pretty good at this, Tom.
I'm learning from the best. At the end of the day, the work we did not only looks cool, but it's functioning perfectly.
On to the next. We got the front axle and the chassis pretty much nailed. I think this is a great starting point. I want to show Tom the actual truck body. Here's our truck body.
What is that?
Rolling it in, it looks just like what I saw up at Bill's. It's like a big rusty box coming at you. But once I explained, it's a 1944 Seagrave fire truck.
It's a fire truck.
Yeah.
Okay, man, this is cool. Man, it's got some really cool, just stuff on it.
Well, look at the front. It's almost like a Model T. It's like a Roadster pickup.
Oh man, no, this is totally a hot rod. So I've never seen anything like this before. This is a 40s war era vehicle right here, and it's in our hands. So what are your plans with this?
Remains to be seen what it will become. That's the whole thing with just working through it. We just gotta figure it out.
Well, let's mock it up.
Up to this point, this whole project's been conceptual. The whole look of this project is how the body sits on the chassis. It's the look of the whole ride. So getting it in place, I could tell right away, and Tom agreed, this thing is way too tall. Look how freaking massive this body is.
Yeah, it looks kind of goofy up tall like that.
It is, it's way too tall. My initial thought was this was gonna be kind of a highboy style, real old school look on top of the frame rails. As soon as it was in place, I could tell it was not gonna be okay. That's why I wanted to put this body on. It's just way too big. When the whole truck is up in the air, the body looks kind of small, but now it looks massive. That close to the ground, it changes everything. The firewall looks like a freaking tombstone. It's gigantic. I think we gotta channel it.
Yeah, there's no question about that. It'll look so much cooler too.
Right, I'm talking about a hot rod, and you know the formula, man. Low, big and little tires, then lean. We gotta strip this thing down. It's looking good, but it ain't there yet. Both Tom and I agree, this big box on the back of the cab is not the look we're going for. First order of business is to chop it off. Channeling means you drop the body down over the frame. It gives the whole vehicle a lower profile. The compromise is the interior room. But I don't care about riding comfort. This is all about the look. We're channeling this sucker. Get it down. I'm just into it, you know. I love this plasma cutter. I'll use it all day long. So I got the shades on, you know, shields are down. I'm in the moment. Tom's yelling.
Woo, we got a fire in the fire truck.
Fire in the truck. I think he's just into the fire truck. I'm like, yeah. This is these wooden cars, man.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do about that?
Should we call the fire department?
Wanna see something cool? First things first is I see this as an opportunity. I mean, if this is a fire truck, I'm gonna do some experimenting.
Should put a little bit of gasoline on there for some dramatics, so it really looks like it's on fire.
No, this is like fire department stuff. You starve it from oxygen. Theory behind it is if the fire has no oxygen, it will extinguish. So I'm thinking lack of oxygen, carbon dioxide doesn't have any oxygen. Let's try some of that. That didn't work. I guess the velocity of it coming out just made a really better fire. Plan B.
So the fire's growing. Ian says, okay, this isn't working. Don't worry about it. I got a fire extinguisher.
I hate this thing. Ready for the mess? Whoa, you're out. That didn't work. We just had a fire the other day, and I used all the fire extinguisher. Let it burn. I'm done. All the while, the truck's still burning. Tom's gonna go old school on it.
So here I am, working on a fire truck, and I think, what would a fireman do? I went and got some water. Everything's solved.
You know, Tom, that's why I keep you around.
Because I'm a hard thinker?
Here I am with all my cockamamie ideas. And you came in with the oldest form of fire prevention I've ever seen.
And now we need a mop.
We got the fire out, the body lowered down, just as we expected, and it looks great. Now you're talking hot rod. That's perfect. What do you think about that, Captain? Is that gonna work?
Yeah, man, now it's looking like a hot rod.
thing with getting the body in place is now we can kind of mock up what the wheelbase is going to be. So in order to do that, we got the engine in place. It's a 454. It's a big block Chevy out of an old 1-ton dually I had. It's a great running powertrain. After that, we mocked up the bedsides. I knew right off the bat that these bedsides were way too long. I had my own vision of what this was going to be. I also brought Tom on board because I wanted to see what his vision was going to be. Groovy. I think we're onto something, man. What do you think?
I don't know, man. It's too long. It's too boxy. Something's just not right. Something's got to be done here.
You're right. That bed's too long. Do you like the slanted back with the cool detail on the handrail?
I like that. You know what? There's got to be a way to keep the coolness of the back and the coolness of the front.
The engine 4, right?
Right. Got to keep that engine 4 and got to keep those handrails.
See that seam right behind the upright? We could cut that handrail right in half. It's already 2 pieces. So we can, look, this comes apart right here. So we could ditch this upright, make a new one, and just cut it somewhere in here and hide it with the tire, hide the seam with the tire. Wait till you see how tall these tires are.
Whoa, man, look at those. That's a tire.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are the biggest tires I could find available for the street. They're off of a cement truck. They're just massive, heavy-duty semi-truck tires. I think we nailed the wheelbase, but I think it's time now for some conceptual sketches. Moving around all these parts, it's starting to get to me. It's heavy. Tom's a graphic designer, and just like I like to take cars and stack parts, he likes to take pictures of cars and manipulate them on Photoshop. At this point, we're still in the theory and design of the rear bed. Tom's gonna go back, come up with some ideas, and I'm just gonna keep on building. So Tom and I figured out the wheelbase on this. It actually looks pretty short in comparison to the original frame. The thing is making it strong enough to hold this massive rear axle in place. You can see this is no lightweight setup. I got a bunch of motorhome front suspension parts from Bill when I was up there. The front end of this big diesel pusher motorhome had an airbag suspension, and these were the components that held the axle in place. The cool thing is I want to take the front suspension parts and convert them to the rear suspension. In looking at this kit, I can tell it's not going to work for the ride height that I'm choosing. I think that if I flip over some of the components, turn it upside down, and reattach it, and do some other formulating, it just might work. Just like the front suspension, I gotta do a bunch of welding just to see if this thing works. The whole concept with the rear suspension on this truck is slammed, super low. It's gonna have airbag suspension, so the frame needs to be really modified. My plan for this is to build like a miniature tube chassis just on the back. I got 2-inch round tube, 1/8 wall, DOM, super strong stuff. So I'm gonna create a shape that goes up over the axle, back around and reattaches to the chassis. Bottom line with this design is that I'm gonna have to cut the frame right off. This whole chassis design's really high-tech stuff. I'm kind of doing a little behind-the-scenes action before Tom gets back. He doesn't need to know about this. It's all my brain work. When he comes back, it's gonna lift up, be ready to roll.
Hey, hey.
Ah.
Wow, man, look at that cage. Well, I was really surprised when I came in and saw the airbag setup all done. Ian grabbed the air hose and fed some air to those airbags, and up it went, and he released it, and down it went, and it looked good raised up, and it looked even cooler let loose. Yeah, I really like the way it's sitting. Nice and low for something this size.
I'm all charged up about my engineering and chassis design, and Tom comes in and he's all charged up about his artistic interpretation.
So check this out.
That's freaking cool, man.
Did a little bit of photo chopping and my rendering.
I like it. I was thinking like, you know, flat black or something, but you're talking about a fire truck.
Well, yeah, but it is a fire truck. Might as well keep that coolness about it.
Sure.
This fire truck's from 1944, and you know, it's taken decades to build that paint job that's right there. And so I didn't want to mess with that. It looks cool the way it is.
Looking at this rendering, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want to build. The way he drew it out, it looks perfect. I think the proportions are just right.
So what I did was I brought in the bed sides a little bit.
Right, I like that.
Okay, that way it gives it a little bit of a pickup uphill,
Sure.
but it's not, you know, too flat down the side. It's still kind of hot rod. Kept the rails on there. I thought those are a nice touch, and added a few little extra characteristics to it to make it, you know, believable it's a fire truck.
I get it. Kids dig fire trucks, right? The only thing we'd need is those hoses. I don't know where the heck we'd get them. That's a cool accessory.
Hold on a second. I got something for you.
All right.
This past weekend, I was at my friend's house, and he's got a really big yard full of really cool old school stuff. Check out what I got for you.
You are serious about this fire truck, then?
I am.
Wow. Tom is all charged up about this. You know, he took the time to take photos and do all these concepts, and he's got the fire hose to prove it. So like your sketch is showing, I'm just hanging right back here, right?
That's right.
Groovy.
When I saw the fire hoses, it really inspired me.
Let's do that. Let's make a hot rod fire truck. I think that's cool. Kids are gonna dig it.
Right.
It's a charity thing. Just keep a good vibe going. We don't need no flat black rat rod. We'll make a cool fire truck.
I'm glad you're into it. Sometimes it just takes a big hose.
Sometimes that's all you need. This thing is pretty much a roller. The suspension works. I finished all the welding on the front, and this rear is good to go. I got the drive shaft in. You see the brakes are in. It steers. So without the bed sides, it's incomplete. We got to get them done today.
Yeah, all right.
Clock's ticking, man.
Let's get on it.
Today's Tuesday. Your show is Sunday, right?
That's right.
We got this. No problem. When we set up the channeling in the body, we both agreed right away, that's the look. But now we have to set up the bed to complement that. So it's really just a bunch of big, heavy pieces. We need to kind of put them in place, mock it up, and just see what looks right. Since we're not welding the bed sides right to the door jamb, we need to offset it. I'm gonna cut a piece of square tube in half, make a little offset bracket, and weld them on. Yeah, see, I was thinking it would go right inside there. You stand back and look at the height, and I'll put a clamp on it. The whole thing is Tom drew a great illustration. He made a great rendering of what this thing could be, so I'm holding up the metal, asking him what's right. Do you think this height is good, or should it come up a bit?
No, I like the height right there. The back, I think, needs a little bit of a rake, though. Right now, they're nice and flat and level, which gives a kind of a hokey look that I'm not crazy about. This thing needs to be raked.
Hold it. Okay, so that's parallel with the door jamb. That's how it wants to be.
I can already tell that's it.
I'm not 100% sure on the rake of this thing. I want to get the bed sides fully mocked up and then decide if it's right or not. We started by shortening the bed sides 11 inches. Looks like a garbage truck. I think they're too long.
This is a really critical moment because this entire time we've been wanting to balance between fire truck and hot rod, and it can go either way. It's really long and it's looking like a fire truck.
See here, the handrails, once they come out on their little stanchion, they're way out. All right, so that's the height. See what I'm saying? It's almost like the handrail needs to be just inboard of this. I'd like to see the handrail here. This is a big truck, and we're shortening it, I don't know how much, a couple feet. So that's the way it works, you know? It's trial and error. See, man, that's where we're at. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, then it's just past the tire. Initially, you might think the bed looks a bit too short, but this handrail comes out another 7 or 8 inches. Once you put the handrail on, you could tell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
How we're getting somewhere.
You were dead on about the amount we needed to take out of the back to make it look good.
This is gonna be cool, man.
Yeah.
Real cool.
The back piece of the bed has all the characteristics that tell the story of it being a fire truck. So without it, it's not a fire truck anymore.
This was a big step to get accomplished, but there's still something I'm not sure about. As soon as Tom walked out the door, I start staring at this truck, just giving it the old stink eye. I chose to take a few side shots with the camera, plug it in the computer, and just stare at it. Fell asleep in the chair. 3 hours later, I knew it was wrong. Started to have nightmares, and it was all about this fire truck and people laughing. I had to come out and remedy it. It was not gonna work. It was not gonna be okay. I came back out here and I've been working ever since. This angle here was coming down into the door. The body came up a little and the bed came down a little. So you can see now, these lines are almost parallel. You see some cartoon hot rods used in that style bed. It just wasn't working for this fire truck. It's way more conservative because the body is up and the angle of the bed is perfect. It's funny. That's why they make these things, these squares, because you know what? Sometimes square is okay. Did the inevitable before we got even further into it. I cut everything back off and repositioned it. It's like a 3 a.m. roll call. I woke up, realized the course of action, and followed through. It's been a long day. It's subtle, but in the end, it makes a big difference. The good news is, with all that past us, I got all this structure in. You can see there's gonna be a deck here. You could sit or stand. This is all 1-inch square tube. It's pretty thick, it's 13 gauge wall. So even my big oaf of a self can move around pretty easily on it without even having any wood. I'm going real simple on the interior here. It's gonna be wooden floors, just like a lot of the old cars. Cut some plywood, screw it down to the frame, and put a surface on it. Tom came in just as I was finishing the bed. I'm excited to see what he thinks.
Yeah, I noticed we got some wood going on here.
Notice anything else different? I need you to stand back and focus. Feel the force. Something changed.
I could tell.
I spent a lot of time on this, so I'm gonna let Tom stew on it for a while. There's something very different.
Besides the steering wheel being missing.
Yes.
Ian's telling me there's something else that he's done to the truck. I can't really put my finger on it. I could tell there's something different, but whatever it is, I'm just not seeing it. It's not popping out at me. Is it shorter?
I don't know. It's up to you to decide. I decided I had enough fun at Tom's expense, so I'm gonna tell him what went down. Remember how much we dug the bed coming in raked?
Yeah.
I made them straight. I took the rake out of it. Yeah. And I just relaxed the angle, and now you can see the bed is almost parallel with the door top.
It's done so well. You did such a good job that I couldn't even notice. It looks like this is how it's supposed to be, so.
Oh, there you go.
Good job.
I've been really moving on the fabrication on this. Tom shows up again, and he's got some treasure.
Aha, check it out.
What you got there?
I got some lights. Headlights, tail lights.
All kinds of shapes.
Yep.
Tom walks in with a bundle of stuff. Right away, I see these old school headlights. They look like some kind of an early 30s vehicle. These are cherry, super old school.
These are like late 30s Buick or Olds.
Huh, yeah, they got the deluxe chromie on there.
Yeah.
And you got the trim rings.
Yep.
Sweet. Right away, looking at these headlights, I think they're perfect. He's got a bunch of other stuff. The taillights, he's got a couple choices. These are freaking military surplus.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
They got like blackout lenses on them. Where'd you get these?
Out in the desert. One of them,
I think I need to go out to the desert more. They got all the good stuff.
Yeah, let me know.
Crazy. I think these are the taillights. These are totally classy. And obviously that's the headlight set. The grill I got from Bill, a guy I got the truck from. Tom pretty much got the headlights covered. I'm gonna show him this awesome grill I got from my friend Bill. The cool factor about this front grill shell is that it was the original grill for the chassis. So it's got that old school big truck look. Putting the headlights next to it right away, I could tell this was the setup. It just needs to be radically sectioned. That's good, man. That's a pretty mean looking nose.
Yeah, it is.
This is gonna have to get sectioned way down. So we'll use this feature and then these two lights plugging in right on the side, and we'll do whatever we need to cut off the bottom. But that's pretty freaking deluxe, man. I think these will be perfect. The first thing we did was set up the grill with a level across it, just to get a ballpark estimate of how much this thing has to be sectioned.
9.5 inches.
I'm thinking the same way we accomplished the body and the bed, we're gonna do the same with the grill. We're gonna cut off a little, fit it up as many times as it takes until it looks right. Well, let's shorten up the inside, and then we'll just cut the bottom off of this. I got plenty other stuff to do. I'm handing off the cutting wheel to Tom. Let him get dirty.
Ian puts that job in my hands, and I don't know, I'm partly excited. At the same time, I'm partly scared. Ian has, without a doubt, given me one of the most important pieces to work on. And yeah, if I mess it up, well, he only has one person to blame.
Hey, Tom, don't mess that up, all right?
Yeah, You know, I'm cutting up an old school grill that's really cool looking, and you know, that's a little bit of a challenge. It's kind of tricky.
So while Tom's handling all the technical stuff, I'm gonna get busy with a bunch of trash. This thing needs a seat. I got a couple old parts and a couple leftover handrails. This is the structure or the tube frame for, it looks like an old school bus seat. I stripped it down and it had this tube frame under it. I need it wider. The old handrail sections from the fire truck bed sleeve on it perfectly.
One thing that Ian's really good at is taking old stuff and making it usable again. Rather than trashing it, you know, he makes use out of it.
Anybody could go to the metal supply and get these parts. I got it right here. Some old fire truck and some old school bus seat. It's gonna work. There you have it, one full custom seat frame. Well, I've been working. Tom's making his initial cuts on the front grille. It needs to be shorter, so I'm gonna make some marks for him to follow.
Ian breaks out the soapstone and starts drawing some stuff on it, some lines, cut here, cut there.
So you cut right like that.
Wait, where do you want me to cut it at? It's kind of confusing me. He's got lines over here, lines over there. They're intersecting. It looks like a map of South Central or something. I'm not sure what's up. This is the I guess, caveman style.
You're gonna come in like this, right? You see a guy here, you turn left. You see a guy there. As you're coming around here.
Right! You cut that side. I'm sure in Ian's mind, he knew exactly what he was doing. That's why he wrote the lines the way he did. He knew he has a vision. A little scared here. I'm trying to keep up, and I'm like, wow, can I do this? It's a tricky thing going on right here. I hope that's what he wanted. I make my first couple cuts. We take it back over to the fire truck to mock it up and see how it's gonna fit.
So standing back looking at it, I think the height works. But I think that grill still has to come in.
Bring it in behind the axle?
Yeah, then it's gonna look like the suicide axle's proper. Just still, proportion-wise, the engine, you're seeing the radiator, right? The engine's just kind of hanging in space. With the grill ahead of the axle, there was plenty of clearance for the suspension to move. But as soon as we wanted to set it back, the axle, the shackles, everything was gonna smash this thing as soon as it hit a bump. So I think the only way we're gonna make this work is to cut like a V shape in the front. I think my lines will make a little more sense this time. You want to cut it, or you want me to cut it?
I'm letting you cut this. Ian lines it up for some more cuts, and this time I'm like, oh, hang on a sec. It's getting a little bit detailed here. So I hand it back to Ian and say, you cut it. I'm not messing this thing up. It's in your hands again now, pal.
I think all this cutting was starting to get to him. He was a little hesitant to go for the radical sectioning. Now he's even more hesitant to go for the V cut, so I'm gonna pull a few tricks for him and help him out. Hopefully we got it right this time. We're running out of grill.
Set it up on the truck, and it looks great.
Right off the bat, it worked. It's gonna need a little more trimming, but this is the look. Yeah, now look at the line from the bed. It's all facing down. Standing back looking at it, the grill is set back inside the front tires. It looks like a mean machine.
The grill of a hot rod's a very important piece. You know, if you mess it up, it's obvious. You know, it's right out there in front. We cut a lot off of it, but it's still looking cool.
Tom's got to hit the road. There's a ton of little details to finish up. I got about 2 days to do it. Just gonna make it happen. Made a lot of progress on the truck and got my ace, Jackie Rabbit. She's here doing her clean and paint detail. She's clear coating the body. She's putting on all the fasteners. Everything that looks pretty. While Jackie's handling all this paint and detail, I get to get this exhaust built. Fortunately, my friend Don donated this set of headers. Unfortunately, for me, they're for a small block Chevy, and I got the big. These look like your typical headers from, say, a T-bucket kit car. You know, you see them all over the place in the 60s and 70s, people running these headers that come out, down, and they got exhaust dumps. They are the perfect look, but the one big problem is they don't fit this engine. When you look at the exhaust ports on the head, you can see the outer ones are almost in alignment, but the inner ones you could see are way wider. The first step is to cut off the flanges on the header. I got another set that are bolted to the engine, and I need to make a match. Now I need to take these two center ones and split them wider. I think I'm gonna have to torch these bends to anneal them. If it was a nice chromy finish, we'd ruin that, but these are rusty. I can get away with it. Metal is malleable. You just gotta warm it up. You can move it around like clay. So these tubes, as strong as they are, as soon as you heat them up, you can reform them. But see, look, it moves right over. My whole process with this was to try to gain leverage so that last bend, the hardest one, would have a bunch of stuff to work off of. So this one, you can see already, it's definitely a good 1.5 to 2 inches out of alignment, but it's also gotta come up. So this tube needs to stretch up and forward. I plan on accomplishing that with a big old torch and a big old pry bar. Now you got a 3 against 1 scenario. I heat that last one up, it's gotta give. The thing that was bothering me most about this exhaust mod was that you had new material welded right up to old. Aesthetically, this whole truck has to come together as one. If you put one shining, gleaming chrome thing, it kind of outdoes the rest. Hey, move it. You don't know what this could do to a furry animal. Stand back. So, my plan is to just torch the heck out of it. These headers have been on a hot running engine for decades. I'm just gonna simulate that with my big old blowtorch and make it all happy. This thing is pretty much nailed. Car show's tomorrow. I'm gonna take it up there, show off to Tom, the kids, whoever else is there. Let's party. My favorite thing about this is the transformation. You saw what was pulled off the hill. Look what's hanging out in the shop right now. Before I take this thing to Tom's car show, I wanted my friend Bill to come in and see the transformation. Hey there.
Wow, Ian.
Welcome back. I went for it, man.
You did. You know, typical Ian, it's amazing. He shortened it, widened it, lowered it, resprung it, resuspension, and it's really amazing, really amazing. You know, when this was sitting on the hill, I was hoping that it wouldn't just sit there. I was hoping it would get back together.
Yeah, really the only part I didn't get from you was the engine, the headlights, and the seat.
It just looks great. I love the originality of the 1944 Seagraves fire truck.
The wood deck and the back step solidifies the fire truck look. All this thing needs is a couple firemen on the back step. Fire hoses are in place, it's ready for action. I got this thing wired up and fired up. It's driving around, I'm ready to take it to the car show.
Today, we're here at the CLA 4th Annual Spring Car Show and Fundraiser. We're raising money to help send kids to summer camp.
It's a total down-home community thing, lots of cool cars, barbecue, bands, you name it. Tom's put this car show on for a few years and it just keeps getting bigger and better, so to be a part of it and bring a fresh build out, it's super cool, helping out a friend. Tom hadn't seen this thing in a few days, so when I pulled up this morning, he was really excited to check it out.
Oh man, I was blown away. It turned out awesome, man. Well, this thing seems to be a crowd pleaser. People are digging this hot rod fire truck. They're loving everything about it.
I came out here specifically to see this car. What I like about it is he's not afraid to go with something big and bodacious. when people actually see it in person and get to see the tactile feel and see it roll down the street, but you can't help but to look at it and go, damn, that's awesome.
I just think the man's an artist. Just the total coolness of the whole deal. I was pretty blown away.
You know, every time I've worked with Ian, I bring something to the table, but I take something home too. I either learn something when it comes to how to build or artistically. It helps me grow as a hot rodder and a car builder myself.
Building a truck of this proportion is pretty massive undertaking, especially in the time frame, but just like working out, you know, we got through this. It's on to the next, bigger and better.
Custom Garage!